be torn down. But
We'll call the meeting to order. Tonight's regular council meeting being live streamed, audio and visual devices in use, and we'll record this meeting. Agenda additions.
Yes, I put on the agenda 6.6, which is utility right of way for industrial park. 9.5C, which is Alberta Muni's employee benefits, and 10.12C was the meeting that we have with the Ag Society and Rodeo Society.
Somebody like to move to adopt agenda as presented, amended.
I'll adopt the minutes as presented and amended.
All in favor?
Agenda.
Carried. On to our guest, industrial subdivision engineering, Al Cullen. Turn it over to you.
Sure. Good evening, folks. Glad to be here. I was engaged last year to begin the detailed design of the subdivision. A couple of challenges, which there's always one or two along the way. You can see by the sketch here first. I'm proposing to do this in two phases, and I'm going to call the ditch stage one. What I have highlighted in blue is our proposed new ditch to build, because right now, as you can see, the ditch meanders, comes from the nutrient and then comes across onto the down property. And then at the south end, comes across a couple of twin 24-inch culverts, actually goes underground and then exits out to the coulee to the south. I did some test pits last fall. I did about 4 of them along the way at strategic locations. And what we found in the south end of the subdivision, where the ditch is, even though it was fairly dry at the time, when we went down 10 feet or more, because we went down probably 3 meters, 10 feet, it was quite saturated. Not to the point where it was seeping in water, but it would be hard to manage and deal with construction with trenches and whatnot. So I think that the idea that I came up with was to divert to ditch along the west boundary. It's actually a nutrient property. They have granted the right of way and signed documents and everything. And actually, it's probably heading to land titles, all of this tomorrow. So this serves a couple features or functions. First of all, it gets the ditch out of the subdivision, and all the drainage and whatnot will be dealt with through this. The ditch is designed for in excess of 1 in 100. I've got like 30 hectares. So what's that? About 60, well over 100 acres that this ditch can now come in. And so instead of getting the flooding that you got in the south part of the subdivision there, where the culverts would back up because there's too much water and the snow melts in the spring, that won't happen, because now we're splitting the drainage up. Most of it going in the ditch, but some of the subdivision on the south side of the street will then go through those culverts and whatnot. So by splitting the drainage up and controlling it, we're going to mitigate any possibility of any flooding at that. So there is a bit of cost to it because of the crossing that we need to install, because where you see the dark circle there, yeah, that's where the crossing is, and we're going to be twin 675 rather than one 4-foot diameter thing, because I need cover, and then it gives you strength in case someone's running some pretty heavy vehicles over, right? So, and then there is a storm system within the subdivision, which connects to the manhole in the crossing as well. So it gets everything going out and then out to south end, where right now it ultimately ends up anyway. So that's, I would say that would be the first stage item to do on this subdivision. It will dry the subdivision up and allow us to work in the subdivision without having to worry of, well, if we got a rain, like, are we shut down for a week? In this case, no, the ditch hopefully would be in place in that point and be able to take any significant rain event. Any questions or anything?
So any water that's coming off of there?
Yeah, so you can
It's
see,
gonna be up at the top there at the end.
yeah, so right at the top of the blue
Yeah.
is where I'm gonna intercept the existing ditch
Right,
and then a little bit of an arc and then into an actual defined ditch.
okay,
And also, in some of this, the west bank isn't all the way up, so it still allows the overland flow to come in from the west, from the nutrient property into the ditch as well.
okay.
I'm not like we're creating a berm where we're creating more ponding of water and whatnot, so it's allowed to come in.
So
So
this is just to get rid of any rainwater and excess.
from
water.
the north, like way
And
north,
where does it go off on at the end there? Is that
it goes
down
off the
on Bill's
south.
property?
No, it's in town property, right? You bet out there?
Okay,
Yeah, I'm sorry, village. And that's where it falls right now when it crosses the yard there right now with the twin
there's
sixes.
no danger of excesses flooding beyond that onto adjoining properties.
Well, let's put it this way, that
Aren't
coulee
combined.
can probably hold the 1 in 1 million year flood.
Okay. All right. That's good. That's all I want to
And
know.
when I look upstream and downstream, really other than flooding that could occur and has occurred over the years will just naturally occur.
Okay.
I will say that one thing the village is missing is some stormwater management, because my first thought when I started this would be, is there a sticky tool I can use? A pointer? Okay. So I was contemplating putting a storm pond in here, but it turns out it's nutrient property. This is actually your property, the village's property right here. Who is that industry there, Yvette? Right here.
Focus
Secure
that.
energy, secure energy.
Yeah, they're actually using your yard for storage and whatnot right now, but I was gonna put a storm pond here because the storm pond would have doubled. It would allow me to get some dirt to use in the subdivision as well, but it's nutrient property, so we're just gonna run the water straight out. And each lot will have their own, I'm gonna call it stormwater retention, where on the lot, they have to hold some back and store it on the site. And you usually do that in trap lows in the gravel or in the parking lot, whether it's paving or gravel, so. Why don't we just go to storm then next, while we're kind of going there. Then we'll come back to. Well, I guess it's the last page there. So if you can kind of, with your magnifying glasses or your bifocals like myself, you can see that I've actually put a storm service into each lot. So within the lots, each person, when they hand in their development permit for this, will then have a mini, it's a manual calculation where they have to retain some of the water and release it at a certain rate. So we don't surcharge the system, and it allows us to keep our pipe sizes reasonably small as well. So mostly 12-inch pipes. So each lot has their own retention, and all I can do at this point is just tell the guys what the release rate is, and who knows what business would take over that and how much parking lot they would have and so forth. So it's just it's a manual calculation. It's not a big deal. It's not like a big computer generated thing. So that way they retain, and we slow down the water so that we can through timing, send it down after the surge in the storm theoretically, so it helps with any erosion downstream or turbulent flows kind of thing. So the storm sewer, you can see where it connects to the manhole in the street. So it all kind of converges and eventually all flows out the ditch to the south there. And they've doubled up the services, so we're, there might be 3 services coming off one manhole and up to 4 on another to try and minimize costs significantly, because a 5A manhole is a good $7,000 to 10, depending on the depth each. So each manhole I get rid of, that's another 10 grand off the total price. So we can go back to the second page. SW. Yeah. So SW just stands for sidewalks. So it basically has to do with the surface. So the only real thing I want to show here, each lot has their own approach, and it's a double industrial approach. So a truck can easily turn into the lot through the approach. Mm-hmm. It's a graveled road with ditches. We're within the boundaries that you see here are basically construction boundaries as well when it comes to the roads. Because we got a bid to do 1 second here, is to bring it up to the same standard as the rest to the east there. That is second, right? Or is that first?
I think it's Second Street.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Second Avenue.
So a bit of work to do on second to bring it up to standard. So it's the same width in industrial standard. And then when you go north up through to the cul-de-sac, it's a 20 meter right of way, whereas second is a 22. So relatively the same road widths. So I managed to squeeze it into a 20 right of way. It just means the ditches within the industrial subdivision aren't as deep, but the sections for each are down below. Again, if you had your magnifying glass. So when I took over the project, I did do a little bit of reconfiguration to the legal plan that was in place, especially around the cul-de-sac area. When I did the detailed design, the ditch around the cul-de-sac actually protruded out into private property. So what you see at the tip at the cul-de-sac, the straight lines and whatnot, are some of the reconfiguration that I had the legal surveyor do to be able to fit everything in within your right of way. And with respect to the ditch, I forgot to mention, here's all on the right there were all the sections of at various points along the ditch as well. Yeah, we can go with the sanitary now. Nothing specific about the sanitary. We got a sanitary main. We're hooking into the existing town system, and we're providing a service for each lot. So nothing spectacular or anything about that. It's a 4-inch service for each lot, and being a 4-inch, we don't need a manhole. And let's face it, on industrial lots, it's maybe a couple washrooms, maybe within the office, maybe 3. If they have a wash bay, they're dealing with their own water and recycling and whatnot before they let it go out. So a 4-inch will handle a lot of discharge. So next one's water. Taking a bit to check that. So really the only thing significant about the water is if that you look at lot 20, which is kind of on the right side, across from the number 2 in phase 2 is lot 20. At some point, we needed to loop the water line. And it was really handy, the fact that there were some water lines, existing water mains along the east boundary of this subdivision. Yeah, right along there. There's a couple. So it was really convenient to be able to loop the water line in lot 20 to get some proper circulation and keep the pressure and fire flows sufficient for all these lots. So again, just a typical service drop for each lot. Because it's industrial, the spacing for hydrants is only 90 meters instead of 150 as in residential. So there's 1, 2, 3, probably it looks like about 4 with a flushing hydrant for water. So again, we're just tying to the water main that's on Second and looping it through the mains that are on the east, along the east boundary there. So. I guess if we go back to the storm once more while we're there. There's a lot of lines, but at the bottom of the page, it's actually the details for that road crossing. So it's a rectangular manhole with 2 675s. So what's that, about 27 inch? They're about 27 inches. So, and then the detail on the right, lower right, is the method in which we would connect the storm services to each lot. Because you're only allowed to put 4 points of entry into a 5A manhole before you have to go to a square manhole. And the cost almost doubles when you go to the square manhole, so 1S. So putting a Y service in reduces and keeps the max to 4, so we can still use the round manhole. So again, probably half the cost versus square manholes. So that's it in a nutshell. We're at the point right now where it took a while working with Nutrien to get their documents all signed and everything, and then as well as them to approve what we were proposing. But we have those signed documents now, not too long ago, I guess. So with all that, like I say, we're planning to go to land titles tomorrow. I'm dropping off the last documents tomorrow, the ACE myself. So away it goes. The status of everything is that the detailed design is done. The drawings are done, the profiles are done. So I'm at a point where the next step would probably go out to get prices. Now, with the proposal I sent to the village, I'm kind of at a standstill right now, and I don't know if there's a rush or not, because we got to do up schedule quantities and do it by phases, and only do phase 1 right now. The only thing I do have a cost for is the ditch, and it's about 150,000, including the crossing. But that's dirt that we're going to use within the subdivision itself right now. Okay. So with that, I prefer personally not my methodology is that I don't usually send out for tenders. When I send these out, I send them out for cost, and I'll pick a short list, because there's legal implications to when you do a tender. You're almost obligated that you have to pick someone and you have to go. Whereas if you get costs, I just send them a schedule of quantities, and at their convenience, they'll fill in some numbers for me and whatnot. So not a true tender process, but at this point, probably what you guys want is, well, what is the cost? Okay. And with getting costs directly from the contractor, if I did a cost estimate, my numbers are going to be 20% higher than what they actually would work out to be. And with money probably being as tight everywhere, it's nice to deal with contractors' numbers rather than my cost estimate. My cost estimate would give you a worse scenario, that's for sure. So that's where we're at. At this point with Yvette, I'm just waiting instructions as to how and when to proceed. And I'm not saying I want to start tomorrow. I have to, but it's not at your leisure, but certainly at your capabilities for sure. I'm sure there must be some questions out there.
Yeah,
I couldn't have touched everything.
what's governing install of a storm system? We don't have a storm system in the existing industrial.
Yeah, you do. You will. This subdivision is going to have a storm because the problem right now, all that south industrial comes down road ditches. And when you get to this point here, actually, in Nibbs Yard, they've had significant flooding over the years. And it's because there's so much storm water coming down the ditches, because in most cases, those storm ditches are barely 2 feet, 2.5 feet deep. And they're clogged with grass. They don't flow very well. So you probably in the spring get some water overtopping the roads because the culverts aren't quite unfrozen yet. They're a little undersized. So what this does, having a storm system in place for this subdivision, is we significantly lower the amount and volume of water and the velocity at which it's coming into the storm system. Because if we had this whole area coming down, these ditches don't have the capacity to hold all that storm water. So it's pretty normal procedures now to put a storm system in place and put a controlled release on the lots, which you don't have now. I
That's what I
realize
said.
that, yeah. But right now, when you first started, it didn't matter. But by the time you get down into this area, there's a huge bottleneck along here in the ditches. And if you go out and look, you can see the evidence where they've silted up. And these twins here, like this whole area floods every spring, if I remember from what I've been told. And I've seen it this year at times when there was that one significant snow melt in March, April. This was all flooded and then over into here too. And it's because these culverts here were blocked and I'm way under capacity to take 100 acres. They're way undersized.
Any more questions? Ask away.
It's my suggestion to put the storm system in. It solves a lot of problems and mitigates a lot of problems that could happen if you didn't. There is a cost,
Yeah,
yes.
What is the cost of the storm?
Again, like I was
Not
just
sure.
mentioning, I don't know at this
I don't
point.
know yet.
But I've tried to make it as feasible as possible, using the smallest pipes as possible. Like for instance, I think the storm pipe, by the time I'm going from here to here, I think is a 525, so 20-inch pipe. Whereas if there wasn't retention in each lot, that pipe would be 4-foot diameter to take the water. That's just a correlation between the two, with and without kind of thing. So you would have a big surge coming down the road ditches, and these culverts in the approaches would have to be enlarged as well to take that extra water that's coming down the ditches. Because right now, most of the pipes in the approaches in town on the industrial side are slightly undersized. They're just minimum size. And they're as big as they are, thank goodness, because of icing and snow. So it allows the water to get going, flow quicker in the spring.
They freeze up every year.
And that's normal, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, nothing new about that. That's just how they operate.
Okay.
Question, like you were saying, the difference between getting estimates from contractors and your own estimates. Was the ditch your estimate or like for 150,000, or is that the contract, like contact?
It was a number I sat down with NIPS actually,
Okay,
because as we know, they're not the fastest, but they're the cheapest.
okay,
So they actually them and myself, we sat down one day and did it, and we actually phoned the suppliers right there, so they were real prices at the time.
okay,
And that includes the dirt work too for the ditches.
okay. Thank you.
No problem. I'll stick for another few minutes. I can see eyes flickering back and forth.
Just on the size of the lots, can you describe the decision-making process on that particular side?
They were basically in place when I took over the project.
Okay,
Are they 2 acres,
1
basically?
acre lots.
1 acres, okay.
And that was kind of decided back in 2012, Adam, is that what it is on the bottom there?
It's been in discussion for a long time, yeah. And
And this was the.
why 1 acre lots? I think that was the suggestion of MPE to try and,
1 acre is a very common size for an industrial lot, and there's nothing stopping from someone from coming in and buying 2 or 3 and consolidating them.
Yeah.
If they want more, because you have some big land parcels and some of the owners in town already, so.
any ballpark idea what 1 acre industrial lot might be worth in a village? Obviously, it's different in Calgary or Strathmore.
Yeah, so Calgary,
that's good.
I'm doing work on a 2 acre lot in Shepherd Road,
Yeah, that'll be lots.
but it's a remainder thing, so over $1 million. I think he had to mortgage 875 for it for 2 acres. So between 400,000 and 500,000 a lot undeveloped.
In Calgary.
Yeah, that was undeveloped. So these are developed. So that's a different story, right?
Yeah,
And when we do the pricing for the lots, we'll put everything into the pots and figure out our front foot and determine what a good retail price would be for the lots.
Yeah, we'll have to involve the realtor and see what they're selling for.
A realtor would have a good idea,
Similar size.
but a realtor has to be aware that these are service lots, not unlike what you have in the current subdivision.
The current. Something.
Like they got sanitary and water only, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And there's some exterior costs that you're encumbering, one being with the ditch, for instance. That's 150 that you need to distribute between the lots, right? And any of the costs that the village has incurred to date with legal and planning and everything else too, so. And we've got all the documents from Palisades, like the full package is ready to go tomorrow for registration. Once registration happens, actually, Andrew was just telling me the other day that registration is only taking 2 to 3 weeks right now. I just about fell over in my chair.
Yeah,
I'm used to 2, 3 months, maybe 4 this time of year, so I don't know what the heck's going on, but it's going to be good timing on our part to get it in now, for sure. And having registered lots allows you to do a lot more for the marketing and that sort of thing as well, right? So if you do go to the marketing point, then maybe you do engage me to do the cost estimate so you can start putting some numbers together for possible retail value for the lots. Of course, your saving grace is you own the land, so there's not a land cost really that needs to get put into the formula.
So the whole idea was that everything is being registered all at the same time.
Oh, yes, we're registering phase 1 and 2, all of it.
So,
But construction wise, we're anticipating to do it in 2 phases, like I'm showing there, to minimize the outlook of capital costs. This makes sense, right? To do it in
Yeah.
phases. The only thing is, yeah, you got some upfront things that we need to do to be able to do phase one, like the ditch and some of the road work on second.
Let's see. With, it used to be Lionheart Engineering and then Normcan, and now it's Secure. Are we charging them to use that land that's not on their lot?
Well, they own all the land that they're using right now, so.
But they're using this and that's yours. Yeah, I checked it 3 or 4 times. So that's why I thought this was yours.
So did they fenced it?
It's all fenced too.
They fenced it in.
Yeah, it's fenced.
Oh, well. That will make.
But maybe it
negotiating
did
easier.
because maybe it's because you ran your pipes across there that. And but that wasn't their property to give up anyway for the pipes.
I'll
No,
have to
because
look
their
into that.
property line would stop here
That's right.
according to survey.
Yeah.
And they're fenced all the way out to this proposed ditch.
And using it. Like I went back and forth with Yvette 4 or 5 times, like, are you sure? Are you sure? And then
Yeah.
I kept looking on the legal website and
That's like 2
That's
acres.
yours.
That's 2 acres of land.
at least 2,
So
yeah.
they would need to sell it and pay taxes.
Well, there should be
Or
some
they
retribution
do-
to the village unless
We need to
they're.
buy it.
That's what I meant,
Yeah.
not sell it.
Yeah.
But we need to sell
We
it.
need to sell it.
Yes.
Yeah,
Well, obviously they've been using it for, unless there was some deal they made with the
In
village that.
2010, they purchased something. Because there's a whole folder. I
Well,
just
we better
came across
figure
it.
that out.
Okay,
Yeah, let's.
Maybe it didn't get.
It was-
Maybe it-
titles?
I don't know. But I
maybe,
know
but
in
maybe it was sold
2010.
to them and it just didn't, land title didn't get changed.
Didn't get registered.
Okay. I'll look
It was
into
before my
Check.
time, so I don't know.
2010.
We need to find that out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
Someone could just pull the title and see who
Mhm.
the owner is, whether it's still the village or
Yeah.
someone else.
Yeah, the challenge is that the deal was done and the check paid, but it didn't get filed.
It
But
won't
the
really-
thing is,
we'd have to audit the
the
deal.
price of sending it the land titles
Mhm.
is like a couple $100 to have the title change.
yeah, so we just have
And
to
you
do
just
that now
engage a lawyer
if
to
we
do
have
that.
the money, right?
And
If
then-
you want, I can pull the title tomorrow and just see whose name and I can send it to you back.
Do it too.
Yeah, okay.
And then we'll
Yeah.
have to check to see after full title, what they're actually paying taxes on. What their mill rate, how many acres it's assessed to, whether it's assessed to this or this plus that.
Well, there's probably 2 separate titles, so wouldn't it be 2 different
That's what
tax
Ron
accounts
can
then
do,
too?
right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Probably.
So
Yeah, you
this
could
piece-
set it up.
this
as
piece
a-
here is a
as a
question.
option with it.
Well, they didn't consolidate, obviously.
Right, so that makes me
So
wonder.
then
what's
there are
in that,
probably 2 tax accounts, if anything,
Unless it didn't get set up. as a
unless they
tax
didn't
account.
do
Let's
it.
make this
Yeah.
registered.
Yeah, so until we came along, they've been
Yeah, we
under
don't.
the table.
They could be being taxed on the whole acreage and it could
Yeah,
be.
it could be legit. It's just,
It just needs
I
to be
didn't
registered.
find
I would,
anything
I
at
would
land
bet
title.
you they would not have put a fence up if they didn't own that.
Yeah.
Oh,
There's.
why
there's-
wait, and the expense they
Yeah,
putting gravel out there and
yeah.
using.
I
it
bet you
quite
it's something we
regular.
just missed with land titles.
Which then, how does that go from land titles to, it'd be on mill rate times the acreage, right? So how do we feed into the taxation?
Oh, there's the assessor that does all that.
So he would base that on titles.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So it
they-
should be in the
they might
village's database
So they
somewhere.
might not be
that
getting
talks.
taxed.
you should be
We'll
able to,
investigate it.
yeah, we're just gonna have, you're gonna have to look into it.
Yeah.
Sorry for bringing that up.
Well,
Well, no, I'm telling you, it threw me for a loop. It threw me for a loop for the first few weeks, because
Well, 'cause then
I thought I was gonna put a storm pond on there and get all that dirt that I needed for the whole darn subdivision, and then I found its nutrients.
Okay.
Not nutrients,
Tervitas?
Tervitas.
It's nutrient down there.
Secure.
Well,
No, it's-
Nutrien owns some down there too.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
not,
nutrient owns that little trapezoid.
Not
Right there.
not where Tervita is.
right here.
Parking
They,
stuff.
they own all this nutrient.
Okay,
So that's why right now, you just have a right of way from
Mhm.
Second to the lagoon.
Mhm.
That's your only access right away to the lagoon is through a
Yeah.
right of way that you have with them.
But the piece of land that we're talking about is not nutrients.
I believe it is.
Secure is the one that's fenced.
No,
No,
I'm
yeah.
talking about the trapezoid right beside it.
Yeah.
Which I thought was, we all thought it was the village.
Yeah.
And like I was saying, I was hoping to use it as a burrow
Mhm.
pit and then / storm pond. Cause then I could get all the dirt I needed for the subdivision, cause there is some low spots there.
so is that big, fill pile, that big,
It's on their property.
it's on nutrient property?
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
The stuff that the village has been dumping down there for how many years?
Yeah,
It's
It's not our
a
property.
big fill pile.
Really?
yeah, it's-
I always thought it was ours.
because, that was
No more dumping
confirmed
stuff down
from,
there.
that was confirmed with Ace, because he did all the, due diligence on
Yeah.
that. Because my right of way was only gonna come the second, but then he said, well, that's nutrient down to there, so
Yeah. So
That's the
Nutrient
lagoon there.
owns all of this,
except for that trapezoid,
yeah, and
which
then,
is the lagoon.
yeah. And then you're talking about this piece right here.
That's the one that's being used. You can see in
So
Google Earth that it's being used there.
Yeah.
you click on it and,
Yeah,
Owner.
Secure Energy,
okay, they do own it.
yeah, that's
Okay.
with,
Problem
so
solved.
we'll check the, we'll double check, but yeah, that was what was done in 2010, I'm sure,
Okay,
yeah.
Hey,
It was happening 2010, 2011 in that time frame.
okay, so the thing is, so I can't remember if the pipe's coming across there right now, that piece we're talking about. If you zoom into their parcel again.
Well, it's going through that parking, these.
Yeah, if you can just,
It's right here.
yeah, just zoom up. So the pipes,
Yeah, it's right in here somewhere.
yeah, well, you can see where,
You can see the drainage.
yeah, you can see the hole.
Yeah.
And it goes right across their property, and then they actually have a pit on the south side there, you can see.
Yeah.
And the pipe goes into that, which gives them some water to use on site, I guess. And then there's a ditch and a whole bunch of riprap going out the south end there, and then you can see the natural drainage course from that point.
Yeah.
So,
And then, so that's our spill pile to the west, and it's crossing a boundary as well.
Yeah, and we do.
well, that's your property, the
Yeah.
funny trapezoid, that's your lagoon.
And we do own property down below here. It's just not showing up
Yeah,
on this
10
map because it's county land, right? So
so it is on our.
So it is on our
it
land.
is on our land.
And then you have a
We
road
own
allowance
10 acres.
right there, believe it or not, too.
I always thought it
Across
was
the
our
back,
land
across the
until we
south
started
side.
talking
Yeah.
about nutrient owning it.
Yeah, it's a really goofy
Oh,
situation.
see, that's what I went through.
I've owned it for as long as I can remember.
Forever.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. See, I remember them purchasing like that small little parcel from us, like way back then.
Yeah,
And I think that was one of the motivations to start the conversation way
Mhm.
back then about having another industrial subdivision
yeah,
addition.
yeah.
Because that would have been our last lot sold. No, second to last lot sold. It was in there.
Did you want to talk about second north while I'm here, or?
Yeah, you can if you want. Council was, wanting to continue the road, from Frederick across to Second Street to the new subdivision.
Yeah, right there. So yeah, that's talk to me about what it would take to do that connection through there. And what would be involved from a legal standpoint and an engineering point of view kind of thing, so. My suggestion was we do a tentative plan, which just got registered, because if we're gonna put the road in, there's no use putting the road unless you put some services in as well. So I would do a tentative lotting plan along there. So if we ever did develop it, then we could, I don't know how many residential, like you still got the other subdivision to sell right now, but
I'm starting to wonder if we'd won a lottery
Oh,
What do you mean?
with the amount of money that we're.
well, when Justin gets kicked out, there'll be lots of
Talking about spending.
infrastructure money from the PCs, right?
I believe that when the checks are.
Yeah, so. Anyway, it's on the discussion agenda, so. It sounds like it was discussed in council a couple months ago or so, so.
does putting a road in there require that we need to put streetlights and,
If there's no residential, no,
no?
no. And the level of street lighting that you have to put in, you don't have to put in City of Calgary, you can use the ANSI. It's not as high level. Probably be 3 street lights there.
Can I ask a question? You see how this is on just one lot that comes up? Do we have to subdivide it?
Well, that's
That's
why,
what you mean
when
by
I
a
say a
lot plan?
tentative subdivision plan, it's basically done on paper only for the purposes of locating the services. But in the event that they want to create lots and titles, then yes, we have to subdivide.
Well, and if you're putting a road in, you have to put services in it.
Yeah,
You're not gonna dig it back.
well,
We
even
do
if you
it.
just put gravel, if you put gravel, then it's not a big expense to come in and put the services later.
Yeah, it's still cheaper to do it all at the same time. In the long
100%.
run,
There's a huge savings for sure, yeah. I'll leave you. That's
Okay.
all you, no more questions?
oh, I think I'm good.
Okay,
But,
So thank you.
you're very welcome, guys. Good to meet you all.
Thank you very much.
thanks for dropping off the paperwork.
The other, is the other gates
I'm-
in here too?
I have to go anyway, so.
You're
it's
gonna do
it's
it?
good.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks. guys.
Perfect, thank
Have a
you.
good night.
You too.
Safe drive home.
I will. It's not raining yet, it doesn't look like.
Yeah.
Well, we'll move on to 4.0. Public Works and Office Reports.
Okay, so Public Works, other than its usual daily inspections, mowing and trimming around the village, cleaning and maintaining the campgrounds. He's been just general maintenance on the equipment. He's been taking photos of the properties that have, in violation of the unsightly bylaw still, but yeah. He repaired a manhole cover on 9th. He was trimming and mowing around the sewage lagoons and also along the rail bed. Keep for fire hazards down. So he still continues to move stuff between the 2 buildings. The cemetery has been working on locating some survey pins so that we don't have such a difficult time in the winter time locating them, so we're gonna mark them out. So he's been assisting the Lions with the watering of trees whenever they need. He just wanted to let you know that he took away 13 loads of tree branches and 5 loads of root balls from the campground.
Where'd you put the root balls?
Oh, they went away.
Out down into the industrial park.
Yeah,
Oh,
they went away. So, and he also helped a little bit, report on the pros and cons of the Esso building. And repairing picnic tables and benches that needed it, so. That's it for Public Works. In the office.
Is there sort
Oh, sorry.
of, on this, is there a way that we can quantify the 13 loads and 5 loads our cost?
That
program of new trees up there is funded. It's not just paid for by the Lions. There's funding that came through for that.
They got a grant
Yeah.
for those
Right.
trees.
It doesn't include removal of dead trees. Unfortunately, it's just purchase of new trees and planting.
Yeah.
So the burden's on us, and is what you're saying,
Mhm.
to remove all that stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so
Unfortunately,
at one of the meetings, there was somebody that commented to let the insurance know about us alarming our buildings to see if maybe we got a reduced
Mhm.
rate. Unfortunately, no, they don't, but they do recommend alarming buildings. But no reduction in the rates, sorry.
go figure.
We met with Community Futures, Councillor Larry Casey and I walked around with them and went and introduced themselves to all the businesses in town. We did a walk around, Jen and I walked around the village and all the ball diamonds with Renewal Tech after the complaint about spraying. And they did come back this week and sprayed again, so we'll see how this one goes. Palliser hosted a session on issuing development permits, and boy, oh boy, there's gonna be a lot of work that needs to be done. So they're actually telling us all to look at how much time we're spending on them and make sure that this is not a village cost, that the cost goes back to the person that's taking out the development permit. So, or you're doing an RPR, should make sure that those costs go back onto the person that's requesting it, not village expense. So we will track it in the future and see how much time we spend. We may have to redo our fees. Conversations with Alberta Munis and 8760 for new gas and power tenders coming out. That'll be discussion later on. We met with the Ag Society group. We'll have a report in the reports later on. The Lions were not able to attend, but Jason Gauthier was here. He said he's a member. He'll take the information back to them. We met with the library. We went over the lease agreement. Office lights got replaced. We did our first interment for the columbarium last weekend. We also purchased, or the cemetery purchased, 2 hardcover cases for transporting the shutters because they are very heavy and they're very expensive. So we got some nice cases. They just sit in there and they can be transported because we actually had 2 go out at the very same day. Admin, Jen has been working on the budget so we can get something presented to you guys for Christmas. Unsightly property, sending out letters, responding to phone calls, people saying, oh, I'll do it by this date or whatever. And again, bylaw review and research. And that's just, all the phone calls.
How many unsightly properties were there?
There's usually always about,
I think we have over, well, yeah, but I think we sent out almost 20 first notices, and then had maybe, I think, 3 or 4 that needed a second notice.
Yeah. I don't know if this is the time to talk about this, but the house is being built there now. I don't know if you've been up there, but winter's coming and those sidewalks haven't been cleaned yet. So there's 2 accesses that Grace put in to get the machine over the sidewalk. And it's quite deep like that now, packed down. Plus the access, our little access road that goes into the pond there. There's a bunch of turf there that needs to be moved as well. It might be a good idea to get something done with that before it gets
Home graze.
It looked like their spill pile too was on an adjacent lot.
Yeah, he's got the neighbor that's building now, he has gravel over there and excess dirt from the properties,
Yeah.
but that stuff is earmarked for his garage. He's gotta tap the garage more, because he filled the garage
We're
quite
kind of
high.
getting way off topic here.
Did he get a construction permit and a fee to use that land? 'Cause that's not his land.
So, okay,
Well,
We're-
I don't know about
Okay,
that, but
hold
I'm
it,
just saying,
time out.
we need to move that.
we're way off topic. So, graze. And tell them to clean up their mess.
Actually, we have to, it's the whole other one.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, that's whichever.
So that's it for reports.
Is that not permissible to bring this stuff up?
Well, it should have been brought up probably in counselors' concerns,
Okay,
but no, it conversation just keeps going and going about, and it just was going. Okay, but it's all good, but we just gotta kind of try to keep on topic. Somebody want to adopt?
I move that we accept the Public Works and Office report as presented.
All in favor? Carried. Minutes.
Couple of typos that I actually fixed already. At the very top, Village of Standard, regular should be regular, not regular. And Mayor Martin Gauthier was in attendance at the meeting.
Yeah.
So,
Those are the two things
Yeah.
I saw.
is that the only thing you caught too? Okay.
Yeah, pretty much.
Sure.
Any other questions on,
Motion that says there's the more control motion.
Oh.
Motion,
That's right.
I think should be second up first, second.
Okay, what are you talking about? This is in the minutes?
Yeah.
Oh.
Motion to.
Okay.
For OD.
Yes, I remember. Okay. And,
It's,
you guys see anything
Oh,
else?
yes.
In the minutes?
I don't,
so 11.1D should say, moved, second reading was not first reading.
oh yeah, that was for the
The
animal.
animal control
Yeah.
bylaw, yeah, that's right, sorry. forgot
Yeah.
that one.
We have guests, so
Yeah.
does somebody want to move to adopt the minutes for the regular council meeting from August 14th,
As amended.
as amended?
so moved.
Thank you. All in favor? Carried. Come on in. Hey, Don.
Yeah.
Hello,
You got it. Are you by yourself?
No, most of them.
Okay,
I'm just early.
okay,
Well, there's not much point in moving on because the next one will take
Couple minutes.
some time.
Need another chair?
Mo will be here.
Oh, there's one here. Move this in here.
Yeah, I suppose so.
What's better to do on a rainy night than attend a council meeting?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
1:00 in the east. Ooh,
is it?
it was
really long.
I don't know if I heard some rumbling earlier.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Or not.
Was there some thunder?
Well, the lights actually flickered. in here.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
You got a little bit of rain already, didn't you?
Yep.
Yeah,
Got a tenth of an inch last night,
yeah, that's what I had
a
too.
little bit now.
Could have had this,
Pardon?
could have had this a while ago.
Yeah, like about,
July.
July, yeah. Yeah. Good promise, huh?
Yeah,
The weed heads are about this long, small clearings. Canola could be a little better, too. Lots of bushels of barley, but it's all light everywhere. And heat, no rain.
yeah. Yeah, the heat definitely hit at the wrong time of the year.
Well, we had a really good start.
Yeah, it did.
7 inches of rain in the spring,
That was good.
better than last year. anyways.
Yeah. Well, the spring, everyone across the province, like from municipalities to the provincial government, was talking about drought and drought conditions and having to
Yeah.
do restrictions, and then all that rain in the spring helped,
It helped that.
but July was sure dry.
Yeah, because we were panicking because we figured we were gonna be in a level 4 or level 5 drought, so we had that plan done up and
Oh, yeah, for water.
Well, it would have come into effect if we'd been on the Calgary water system.
we got,
Yeah.
That's why it's taking to turn them down
Yeah.
years ago.
has any of our water sales, bulk water sales gone up
Um,
since the Calgary?
We had a few new accounts sign on. Other than that, I couldn't tell you because we haven't printed out the report. We're going to do it during here report soon, so.
I don't know what Central Alberta is. I think they're a little better off than we are,
Yeah.
Yeah.
rain wise anyways.
Well, somebody was saying they were up at Hand Hills Rodeo and they've been going there for years and they've never seen grass so green and long up there as long as they've been going.
Oh, the bales out there are
Yeah.
phenomenal. Yeah. Same down in Longview in that area.
In your package, I did provide you guys with some discussion for the Estill building.
Okay. That's good.
You guys can explain that to you guys. So I've provided here all our empty buildings that we have or storing stuff in, from the shop along East Road, the shop here outside the office, the old library, recycle building, and the Estill building. As you'll see, some of them have assessments, some of them don't. East Road shop, and this one here is all a big bulk
Come on in.
package. Come on in, Mo. It's a big bulk package. It's part of the park, G Park plan. So they don't, the assessments are all grouped together. As with the other ones do have assessments. The old library has an assessment for 80,200 because of Axia's equipment that sits on there, and we charge a lease too. So.
Hey,
James gave me a list of what was in all these buildings, so that's what I got on the side. And I did a little bit of research on cost to dispose of shingles. Talking to John Heller. Pros and cons. Let's see.
do you actually still fertilizer in that building?
Well, there's just the dust. Yeah, just needs to be washed out, I guess, washed down.
Well, you'd be careful doing that, because then where does it go? And then when they do soil testing,
Well, then we'd have to be,
then
yeah.
everybody's wondering where the fertilizer is coming from.
What kind of fertilizer was it? Can make the kill?
Yeah.
So there is a big hole in the roof now. There's a hole. It was just leaking before, and now there's a hole.
Stylish.
2 layers of shingles are up there. And probably plywood.
Anybody got any questions on anything they're seeing?
Oh, sorry, the con was unsightly. Sorry, I didn't put that down.
Yes, very, yes.
Everybody has a different, unsightly.
So the
What's that like?
bulge in the southwest corner.
Yeah,
is
James just noticed that when he
the walls
was,
pushing out.
that's what he mentioned to me tonight, when he was mowing down there. He noticed that it was kind of bulged out a bit. So.
Somebody drove into it with a front end loader.
Probably.
Yeah, from inside.
From the inside,
Yeah.
for sure, yeah.
Filling, loading fertilizer. Skid steer. It wasn't me. Well, Dawn, if you guys wanna go ahead.
Sure, you bet. Thanks for your time. I know everybody's got a busy agenda. This one's been going on for some time now, so. Kind of decided what to do with it. But, we sent a letter, or not a letter, a memo, I guess, last July to the meeting, so I was like 2 weeks ago. If anybody doesn't have a copy of it, we've got one for everybody. Need a copy? Nope, you got them? Otherwise, yeah. You know. So that's a couple meetings ago. So really what it's describing there is what it would take to put the building in good shape, usable, and of course, the first thing you gotta do is fix the roof. Our option would be that it would be done by another party, because we don't want our directors and volunteer staffs going up on the roof and working away at it. But the hole in the roof, if you're gonna strap it, put tin on it, you don't need to worry about the hole because the tin will cover it up. So that's why we're saying ignore the hole in the roof, but you gotta take the shingles off.
Yeah.
Haul them to the Drumheller disposal site, and I've been down there before, but I'd be willing to haul the shingles down for no cost if that's what ends up being done with the shingles. So that's kind of a little bit of a minor expense, but it's still there. So it needs to be done.
And it cost you though to dump the shingles?
Yeah, I think she got it here at
Yeah.
$10 a ton.
$65 a ton
Yeah,
for demo materials and $62.50 for metal.
so they definitely gotta go in for a Drumheller buried somewhere where they usually do. So I don't know if there's any questions on our proposal, but it would be a bit of a moneymaker for memory lane, and as was shown there, that'd be $4,000 would go for the memory lane for volunteer help, and there would be 3 coats of paint put on it. That would be an oil grade base, which would last for considerable length of time. There's been paint done underneath it, but in certain places you'd have to fix a few holes in the wall before it's painted. Also, the siding would have to come off in most places, but by and large, except for a couple of places, a couple of walls, we'd be able to do all the painting from the ground, so there's no scaffolding required. And it'd just be a whole roller and roll the paint up and down. Volunteers could do that from wherever, and if we went that route, we'd probably give each one of you a phone call as well, so. And of course, this year, we're too late to do any painting. And everybody's busy, so it's kind of a next year project as far as the wall is concerned, so.
But the roof should be done.
Yeah, the roof
Should be done.
needs to be done pretty quick, so. But anyways, we've got a strategic plan, and Mo and I were looking at your strategic plan, which is good. You got 4 major items there, and Mo and I are gonna speak to each one of them and see how it fits in with what we propose to do with the building. So, what do you think about the first one, Mo?
Well, supporting youth and young adults to get involved in leadership in the community by providing opportunities at network. Well, you know, we got the summer students, and I think we had a good group of summer students this year. I think they seem to work well together. I don't know whether James had any comments or not about the students, but you know, in talking to each of them, they were happy working with each other. You know, they had a lot of fun, and there was no problems in, you know, getting them to do what they had to do. I don't know what else you can do for youth and the community.
Looking on to your second strategy is beautify the village by developing Centennial Park and beautify the Broadway. Well, you kind of think that the Esso building is not on Broadway, which it is not. But if you go further south on Broadway, you can see the Esso building. So it requires some beautification to do that. You understand it? You could tear it down, it wouldn't be there, but it's not beautifying Broadway either. But if you fix up the building, make it look like it was originally or pretty close to it, I would say that's a pretty good flower or whatever you want to call it in your strategy number 2.
And your number 3 there about growing the business and standard, but you could be doing this, renting the space out there and then don't know about running a gas station in town here that gas pumps that are there now. I think a lot of people are using it. I know I do all the time. And so I don't know whether they need another gas station or not.
No.
No, that was just to advertise that we had one,
Yeah.
not to build a new one.
Share the news. And some people complain because what's posted and what they actually get is not the same. And I figure the convenience doesn't matter what the cost is.
Yeah. So if you're to demolish it, I'd say you're really working against goal number 3. Because you're taking away an economic development. So you're going against your own strategy if you decide to scrap the building. And lastly, but not least, is the number 4, self-sufficiency. There's 5,000 square feet of roof, maybe a little bit more given the slope. And what else you could do with that roof is put solar panels on it, which is, I think, what you're looking into. Well, I understand you're applying for a grant for some building somewhere. I don't know just where it is, but 5,000 square feet or 5,500 of solar panels, and your ROI on that would be pretty good. We have about 400 or 500 solar panels on various barns in our poultry operation, and they're paying back pretty good, providing you get the right connection with who you connect up with. Some of them, they're just going to take you for a ride, but others will help you manage and make money. And we make money on ours. There's no reason why the village couldn't do that same thing. So you demolish that, the roof is gone. Lost opportunity again. So you demolish it, goal number 3 and 4 is 0, and you're working against your own strategy. That's our observation anyway.
And trees haven't grown sufficiently enough for me not to be able to see them from the yard.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And of course, this all came about because of memory lane walkers along there look at that building, and it's right now it's pretty shabby. It's kind of embarrassing to say it's owned by the village. So kind of we're open for questions and clarification if you need anything.
No.
But we're coming to a fork in the road, and like Yogi Berra says, when you come to a fork in the road, you better take it.
Yeah. I think just some of my concerns is just like with that, because it is a shabby looking building, and it's in a, like, I guess the thing is that I look at it as like, the 3 rules of real estate are location, location, location. And it's in a location that's sort of landlocked. We don't really have a road going to it. As far as for our needs of storage, I don't think we've really discussed the questions of it, like, because it is a bigger building. It is a big building. We could have indoor storage, but sometimes, like, do we need it? Because we've already got this building with an old fire hall. We have another old fire hall that we're maintaining. To maintain another building, it's because if you have, like, some of my musings, because like I see the pros and cons what you're saying, but if we could lease it out and we had an interested party, that's a bonus. But that location is not very interesting to, like, I don't know, like, we would have to do a little bit of research to say what is the interest to lease that space. Because if we found a leaser that would do it, it's a no-brainer. It brings opportunity to community. But if it's an opportunity that no one wants, it's hard, because to maintain that building and along with these other buildings, maintenance of a building is an eternal cost. It always runs with us. And we've got a lot of buildings to maintain. But I do agree with you, like, have that building and say that it is owned by the village because we absorbed it. Not that we wanted it, but we absorbed it when the land was given back to us. It needs to be taken care of, like, as it is is ugly.
Yeah.
How did you acquire it?
That is a
Well,
good
not-
question.
yeah.
How did we acquire that building?
Long before my time at this table.
Came with the railway, didn't it?
So we don't even have an answer to that.
No.
Like there's Imperial Oil owns that other fenced in area.
Mhm.
Mhm.
I assume those are two separate land
Yeah,
parcels. So
Yeah.
that's correct.
how did you get one and not the other? I don't know.
Yeah,
That's-
we lucked out and get the one.
It's lost in the past as far as for how.
Well, it was always leased to Richardson.
And they
They-
paid the
but they-
village for the lease,
Pardon me?
and they paid the village for the lease.
Yeah, they
So
paid,
then-
when they were leasing it, and then the lease, when they left, they discontinued the lease, right?
How much did you get for a lease?
Well, it was, $5,000 a year, I think.
No, pretty good.
We don't own that rail bed, do we? To get to the building?
Yes, we do.
We do.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do.
We sold $30,000 worth of gravel off the railroad. But you can't say it's been a total money loss.
No.
Have you done any investigation as to what it would cost you to demolish and clean that area up?
I requested 2 different quotes and nobody ever got back to me.
A lot of concrete. I don't know how thick the floor is, but being it was built for a fertilizer shed, it's probably, what would you say,
Minimum.
Larry?
It'd be a good floor in there, I think, for sure.
Well, you gotta remember 1965, and it was probably what? Who built it?
That's how we built it.
I bet you it's 6 inches, it'd be both max.
Oh, it's thicker than that.
Think so?
Yeah, there's no cracks in it.
There isn't.
It's solid.
Yeah.
From what I saw when I was
Pretty
in there a
good,
year
yeah.
ago.
Yeah. Had lots of tonnage run over the years.
I'm sure they'd have the proper.
What does it have for
requirements
service?
in that.
Just electricity?
This power doesn't have sewer
Or water?
or water.
And that's.
There's a
not-
line that runs
Water,
next to it. though.
water
Is it
runs
close?
next to it.
Well, Clark,
Oh,
water's in the fenced in area and there was water and sewer.
There was
there.
water and sewer there, yeah.
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 Have to be.
I mean, it'd be clay, sewer.
But even for dry storage, we don't need water and sewer for
No.
dry storage.
Well, just if we were to sell it,
Or lease, well, we lease it. if we were to
God, I
lease
wish
it,
we could
right?
sell it.
why do you say we wouldn't sell it?
Well, I'm not saying we wouldn't, I just don't think we'd ever. Don't think anybody'd ever purchase it unless Memory
It'd be
Lane
hard
wants to
to
buy it.
access it, that's the
What's
problem.
that?
Unless Memory Lane wants to buy it from us, give it to them for $1.
Well, we could lend us some money.
Yeah, I don't know.
Have to have in the casino.
Another thought would be that eventually that access to it could come up through the new industrial
I suppose, yeah.
road, right? So
Yeah,
it
maybe
has
there is an
potential to
option.
be sold in the future once we get the industrial,
Because current access is down the rail bed, is
Yeah.
that correct?
yes.
Yep.
Yeah, from the highway in.
Or down here.
Yeah,
We'd have to go up from Third.
Is it here? No, here. Right.
yeah, right there, across and down the rail bed.
Yeah,
Oh, that's not a great access, though, because
Or-
that's destroying
No,
the
it's not.
path.
Yeah, it's not a great access point for
Yeah.
heavy.
No,
Well,
we
that's
do-
not the access
Right
anyway for, future fire department. going
We do
through there.
have access from the highway,
That's what I was thinking, like,
all the way down the rail bed from the highway
No, we
to.
don't. We don't own that part.
that's what I was
It's-
asking.
it was sold-
They still own
Richardson-
they own the rail bed?
Yeah, that, when they bought land from the village, they bought that.
No,
Oh, look at
piece.
that, they
I
bought
know.
the whole
This
deal.
They
piece
did.
here,
Okay,
yeah,
No,
No,
go down to
Richardson.
Richardson's.
yeah.
They
Oh,
own that.
here.
yeah,
No,
they
that's
bought,
an agrim.
That one.
There is a
they
caveat.
Fiber
bought
four.
this piece here.
Mhm.
Oh, this.
They bought this piece when they bought land.
So we
from the
can't
village.
drive from here.
So why do we
No.
maintain that then if they own it?
We don't. They do.
We don't mow that?
No, they do. They've been coming in and looking after
They
it.
sprayed all the weeds.
Yeah,
I didn't think they were mowing the rail bed.
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, I
Yeah.
remember they wanted to purchase the land south of their current lot when the rail went. And the only thing that is there on that rail bed is there is a utility right of way. That's if ever the county wanted to run utilities down that, there's a right of way that they would have to allow them access to that.
Does Richardson have a plan for that? Because they ripped out all the buildings.
No,
To sit on it probably and not pay high taxes.
Is it because it's got some contamination under it?
Yes, probably.
It does. I've seen the plan.
yeah,
So what's the objection to that access that's just past Third?
Oh, it's just beating up the pathway. I mean, it's fine, but you wouldn't want to use it, like you wouldn't want to sell it to someone in and out of there all the time
Yeah,
because it's beating up
that's
that
right.
pathway.
it would be better to come from the south end.
We did have an inquiry on somebody using it just to store stuff, which they didn't care if they didn't get in there in the winter time, because then it would just be, but yeah, the long-term storage, but that did not.
No. Okay.
Well, back to the business in hand here with the
Yeah,
fixing it up here. I think everybody would agree that we all would like to do something with it. Do we have money available for that? Is it feasible that we could actually do something, or are we tapped out right now?
the thing is,
We do have a lot of incentives going,
Yes, we
that are
do.
ongoing,
well, and
that
it's,
we need to pay for, so.
you gotta plan on, just not right now either, because it's gonna cost us every year down the road. Right?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
look at it, if you wanna look at it that way, you can figure out ways not to do it. But if you look at it on the
Still gotta
basis
come
that
up
you've
with
got
some money.
something to rent or store or use for your equipment, depends whether you wanna try and figure out how to keep it and restore it, or say, oh, we'll just scrap it and pay the $50,000 to haul the concrete away.
Well, the big component is the
That doesn't
wind.
make sense.
Pardon?
The big component is the wind.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you kind of missed this year.
Yeah.
We gotta put it in next year's budget.
Well, but why? Because we don't have a great access solution yet.
No.
We don't have an industrial access solution.
But you own part of the land on it, don't you? In the village?
What part of, which land?
I don't know, don't they own some land there that they could?
Oh, yeah, yeah, there's already like temporary access or like
Yeah.
emergency access.
Yeah, yeah.
But as far as generating revenue from renting the internal space, we're not there.
Have you tried?
Yvette tried.
She did once. She got one color.
Yeah.
If you rent your house out and you only get, and you say. you're
Right,
gonna come
but here's the
up,
thing.
You say no?
Here's the thing, we're not gonna rent it to someone that has to be in and out there every day
No,
with heavy loads
No.
across the current access. It's just not equipped for that.
Yeah. I think the thing is for me personally, like, is I know for our capital budget, we don't have the money this year to use to do it. We would have to allocate for next year.
Yeah.
Between now and then, I think we're still in the research phase. Whether, like, I think the thing is good information could help us lead to a good decision. What I would like to see is first, what is the interest in someone actually leasing the building? Because that's an unknown. Second, what is the actual cost? Like in here, when we said, like here in the proposal, it said to get someone to roof it, we don't have the actual cost of someone to come in to do that because we don't have the wherewithal with our public works employees to roof it. So like to get actual costs to, like with the proposal that you're doing and fine tune and hammer that out. Then to take a look at it and get actual costs to see, like we've looked for disposal. We have not looked to see if we could sell the building for salvage. And I'm not saying to salvage it, but the thing is until I have information, like all the different ideas on the table, it's hard to make a decision on a building that, we can't let it sit the way it is.
no,
Because it's getting worse. It is still an eyesore. As it gets worse, it'll become a liability or even something that's dangerous. So there needs to be something done. But I don't see right now that today is the day to make decisions. I think today is the day I continue to progressively get the information we need to make a good decision.
This isn't a,
The longer you let it ride, the worse it's gonna get, and the
Yep.
more it's gonna cost you.
yeah,
But we have to go until next spring anyways, because we have zero budget for it this
Yeah.
year. We have no money unless we go into deficit, which is something I won't do.
this isn't a bad estimate though. Like the only
Yeah,
thing
it's
that's
not.
truly missing, the gravel dirt haul, that's negligible.
Yeah.
On the whole scheme of things, the labor component, you know, if you took your total material supply and times that by 2 to times by 3, so, you know, we're kind of in that 34 to 60,000 bucks.
So that's
I mean, we
something.
have
can
the
budget for.
information here
Mhm.
where we could do a budget item with this information.
See, like, that's the thing I'm saying. I'm not saying that this is bad. I'm saying this is good information.
Yeah.
I have no idea whether someone would salvage it. We've mused about that and talked about it. But, you know, like to go in and harvest the wood from that building, because we've talked all in council about, not in council, but just outside of council, that it's probably all fir and, you know, large beam in there. I don't even know if someone's interested, but it'd be good to try and put out some feelers and see. And since we can't do anything until spring, because we don't have the money to do it, it wouldn't be bad to get information.
Yeah, because the salvage could be like salvage by pieces, like for the wood. Salvage could also be moving the building.
Yeah.
Yeah, if we had access. Yeah, I agree. I mean, we can't make a decision on anything right now.
But I do agree that holding up the project, meaning have it constantly in limbo of we need more information to make a decision. It'd be nice to have a deadline to where we say in next year's budget, this decision has to be made one way or the other.
Well, I don't think if we're even gonna consider keeping this building, then we need to fix the roof. We need to figure out where to get the money from for that now before it causes more problems.
How big is the hole in the roof?
Oh, I had some pictures. I don't know.
Because the longer we leave the roof,
It's just gonna rot,
it's gonna
fall
get
apart.
worse and worse and worse. So
So it's leaking,
We don't have to fix it before this.
just leaks down over the concrete down there.
I was just saying,
well, I'm just thinking if we patch the hole
yeah,
somehow.
It
If
could
the
be
hole
patched,
to
yeah.
keep, just to keep more
Yeah. a
snow
patch,
and
yeah.
water.
Keep
running
the water out.
Yeah, I'm just saying you're not gonna find a
Not
contractor
to
in
do
Western
the roof.
Canada
No.
this,
We do-
this time of year before.
We do have some tin that we could possibly just put up in that area for now, just to keep the water going over
But
it.
even if the hole, depending on how big the hole is, 2 sheets of marine grade plywood is waterproof. And just to put it on and tack it down. We're not worried about, you know, holes in the shingles, holes, whatever else.
What about that?
That's what I would do.
It would protect it and cover the hole.
That rubber,
It's a,
No, it
Well, it's not that
needs
cheap.
a hard solid
Yeah.
piece of stuff.
yeah,
Minimum, I think we should do that anyway.
That's salvage from.
Well, that was my, because then we don't have to panic getting a decision. on it.
yeah, that's not a fix, it's just a
Oh,
patch.
Yeah, but I
We
mean,
have money for a
Okay.
patch.
2 or 3 sheets of marine grade
Does
plywood.
not do that?
Couple
Yes.
pieces of plywood treated.
Yeah.
Like I say, Richard, that's what I would do.
Marine grade plywood would
They,
do the job next time.
Yeah, just some treated
Seal
plywood.
it up.
Screw it down.
3/4 inch
Keep the water
plywood.
on though. huh?
Yeah,
Yeah, well, we would have to get a lift, right? So
That's something
we,
that,
we
Talk
need
to
to
Dustin.
get a lift to take care of some trees anyway, so.
And then lift a couple sheets of plywood up there.
yeah,
yeah,
okay,
Couple sheets would cover the hole.
That's, I don't know how big the hole is, so.
I think I'm trying to find it. I think I'm getting close.
You showed me, I think.
Here's what it looks like.
Yeah, so 2-3 sheets of 4x8 would cover that fine.
Yeah, 1 or 2 pieces of plywood.
Couple of pieces.
Somebody with some screws and a ladder, where you go.
Could have that done in an hour.
so on the edges or
And
whatever.
that
Yeah.
preserves the building.
Yeah.
So that it doesn't get any worse. Ish.
down, put some
Ish.
tar and
Thank
Yeah.
you. That's a good
Screw it down.
one.
It's an ish.
Hey.
The rafters.
good
Yeah.
enough just to keep the water out.
Well,
Yep.
then there's a plan for right now.
Show Larry this picture.
You
I
showed
wasn't
me,
up on the roof, I just.
you
took it
showed
from-
me that picture.
Yeah,
that
I
day.
just took it from the edge of the ladder.
Yeah.
Here's a
And James took one from the inside.
tentative
Okay.
motion on this.
Okay.
So do you want a motion to do that?
Probably good.
Yeah, so. Who wants to read it?
You want a motion?
Oh, Richard.
Yeah, I do.
Move,
Oh, we're there,
Yeah.
okay. Sorry. Okay, then I would like to make the motion to move to direct the CAO to oversee an arrangement and
inappropriate,
appropriate patch for the SO building roof for a cost of up to
or maximum cost.
maximum cost of up to $5,000.
No,
That's
high.
we don't have
Too
to.
high.
300?
Yeah, I was gonna say
Yeah.
300 bucks.
I was gonna say do 500.
500.
Yeah.
Maximum cost of five.
Maximum cost of 500.
All in favor?
Even if the plywood's $100 a sheet,
Oh,
it's $200 and then the tar. Sorry, yes.
Carried. Okay,
Yeah, but
try to get it done before it rains again.
But to make sure that this stays on the agenda,
mhm.
so again, that we don't come up this spring in budget and we forget
Yeah,
this building.
We'll remind you.
Reminders are always great and welcome. Reminders are always welcome.
Well, the thing is, we've got people from out of town walking up and down this pathway that we have 1.2 kilometers. And we got that shabby building. We say, who owns the building? Oh, the village does. Not very good.
Yeah, people start to think, what is that sculpture and what's the background?
We've had people I've talked to from Hannah, northern Alberta, they tour towns and they come here and they take a walk and see the caboose and take a walk.
Mhm.
So it's not only the residents that.
Oh, I hear that, yeah.
Pathway, but you know.
Yeah.
There's lots of other people.
Yeah,
okay. Well, there, we got a plan for now.
we do.
All right.
Okay,
Okay,
Thanks for your time and your.
Thank you, guys.
keep us posted.
Action. Yeah,
Keep us posted.
Thank you for taking the first step.
yeah,
yeah.
Every path down memory lane starts the first step.
Yeah, well, that's in your backyard, Richard.
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay, good night.
Have a good night, guys.
Good night, guys.
Have a good meeting.
Thank you.
So,
haven't we started yet?
We're getting there. We're getting there.
You take a.
Okay,
Did you see page 2, Adam?
so,
I just found my water. I'm really
Oh.
happy.
Anybody else would like a
So-
water?
no,
No?
no. So I didn't bring up the fact that then we could hook their power to that building
That's why I did. I wrote it down. That's why I didn't bring
and,
it up.
That was in the
and then
pros
we
though.
can
Yeah,
That was in
maybe
the pros.
sell, oh, was it?
Yeah, it was in the pros.
yeah. So Jen had made a
Oh,
very,
yes, it is too.
Jen made a very good comment to me saying that, okay, if we keep this one, then we need to get rid of something else. But the recycle building is actually sellable, and it's in the commercial business district. And it's really, for the village, it's kind of useless.
We should have sold
The
that
big-
building.
The
when
big
we had
garage
the
door, like we
interest
haven't,
in it.
I mean, other than
Whether it
picking
was
something
under
up
what
off
we
the
needed
skid and
out of
putting
it
it
or
in
not,
there,
it should have been.
What's
gone.
prevented us from selling it now? What's in there?
there isn't anything. in it.
Nothing in it, it's just power.
Oh, why don't we sell?
We can't.
There's a caveat to memory lane.
No, there's
No,
no
no.
caveat.
Oh, sorry.
Ever.
Power goes to was a verbal
I,
agreement.
I have it coming up.
There would never be, I would never put a caveat on that building. Then you're buggered.
I have it listed on your agenda, right?
It was.
Where,
To add it to.
oh, that building? Okay.
But here's no.
Okay, we're gonna keep going here, you guys.
There's no way I would ever hang them out to dry though.
6.0 unfinished
I can't put a
business.
Caveat on it.
Move to open third reading for the land use bylaw.
I'll make the motion. To move to open third reading of land use bylaw.
RFD, I guess I need all in favor. Carried. So now. RFD to third reading, move to number 1. How do you want to do that? Because you have 4 items there. Want to do them one at a time?
Yes, you have to do one at a
Move
time.
that section 16.2 is amended by adding
dwelling detached.
I don't have
Oh,
it.
you don't have it, sorry,
No.
okay, I got
That's
one
up here.
Oh, okay.
It's right up there.
Number 2.
No, I can read it from up
Okay.
there.
I can make it bigger.
Sorry, I
too.
thought you had.
Now I can take my glasses off. Okay. Move that section 16.2 is amended by adding dwelling detached existing as a permitted use to the Highway C district.
I'll make that motion.
All in favor? Carried. Number 2,
You're at number 3 now.
sorry, I'm at number 3 now. I'm sorry, you guys.
That's fine.
That section 16.3 is amended by adding dwelling units above the first story and dwelling unit on the main floor accessory to a commercial use as discretionary uses to the Highway C district. Someone want to move that?
I so move.
All in favor? Carried. Number 4. Move that section 17.2 is amended by adding dwelling detached existing as a permitted use to the one district.
I district.
I district, sorry.
Yeah.
I guess I can't. Larry, all in favor? Carried. Number 5, that section 17.3 is amended by adding dwelling units above the first story and dwelling unit on the main floor accessory to an industrial use as discretionary uses to the I district.
I'll move.
Mike, thank you. All in favor? Carried. Need somebody to move to give third reading to the land use bylaw.
I'll move to give third reading to land use bylaw.
All in favor? Carried. Move to adopt the proposed telecommunication structure policy. So this has been removed from the land use bylaw and it is now a policy.
Correct.
Correct.
So
Okay, Yeah.
if, yeah,
Larry
I'll
moved.
move it.
okay.
All in favor? Any
I think
questions?
that's right, needs discussion on it.
Yeah, that's, sorry, yeah.
Yeah.
Discussions, sorry, go ahead.
So in districts like Toronto, Calgary, they're pushing back on it as written. This is basically verbatim copy and paste right out of the federal policy. So most larger centers, those I've mentioned, and in BC, their proposed policy changes. I have them printed off. I don't have them here. Of what towns can do that to mitigate some of the perceived damages.
Could we
The way it's
table
written.
this so
Actually,
we can get more information?
one thing that's nice about putting it into policy, it allows us to not have to go to hearing and stuff like that to amend it. And it allows us, like, for example, by putting it into policy, any sort of changes that we want to make, like, you know, as things evolve and change, like what we see other communities and like the information that you have, it's easily adjustable.
So we can do that at any time.
Mhm.
Yes.
We can do it, so we can do it next meeting. If we move this basically we're moving to
To have a frame,
adopt
yeah,
to this
right.
to a policy. So then if Mike or we get all that information, then we can,
Well, you're just basically moving to adopt this
a
policy.
policy.
Yes, it's not an.
So yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So then we can move to
If you
adopt
want
the
to change
policy,
it
we
next
can
month,
change
you
it.
could do it
next
next month.
month.
Yes.
Can I ask a question?
Mhm.
Never mind.
Okay.
Yeah, because as I was reading through it, since this is under federal jurisdiction and I was reading through this policy, if we don't have a policy, essentially it reverts back to the federal jurisdiction
Mhm.
and they're the ones that make the decisions within our community.
Yeah.
And we don't have a voice at the table because
So
we don't
this
have
way
a
we
policy.
do though.
Yes.
If we have a policy, we have a voice at the table. The nice thing is like the things that you've been reading and stuff like that in the research, we can adopt and improve our policy as it rolls forward.
Yeah, I'll bring it next week. So the main things that they're doing, there's some vernacular in here
Mhm.
that is not, it's kind of offensive, right? So it says you're not qualified in one part, right?
Mhm.
But there's towns saying like, well, actually, this guy's an electrical engineer who did that for a living. Like, So they
So he
remove,
has
you
both.
remove that language because
Yeah.
it doesn't need to be there, right? You don't have to copy. And then the other big thing they're doing is on setbacks.
Mhm.
And then when there is a proposed development, the radius that you have to invite landowners and residents.
To give comments and stuff.
Right.
It's bigger.
Right. So under the federal policy, they're basically not including everyone that they should. And a lot of times they're saying like you can't put it near a kindergarten because there's kids there, but then you can put it in someone's neighborhood, right? Like there's a lot
Yeah.
of things. And then the other side of it is when you
Yeah.
look at the setbacks for standard,
Mhm.
our policy could be, we don't have towers in town because our town's not big enough. We actually don't need them in town.
Yeah.
Right. So having a policy is good because then we can, but we need to amend it from here.
I agree.
Definitely.
Well, I will move to adopt the,
Larry already did.
oh, Larry, I'm sorry.
I've already moved it.
Okay,
Mhm.
all in favor? Carried.
But knowing we're going to amend it.
All right.
Yeah.
So 6.2, Esso building pros and cons,
Already done.
done it.
Yeah.
Lot sales, so I will move to rescind my motion 2024-08-23.
What
We-
was that motion?
There was a motion to lower the
It
price.
wasn't worded properly, so municipal affairs recommended that we rescind it and reword it.
You want me to
So,
find the original motion?
Sure.
What,
Yeah, go ahead.
what was the number again?
2024 08-23.
It just didn't have enough information. It didn't specify your intent or,
Intent was to sell lots.
yeah, so I ran this through with municipal affairs and they moved to advertise council's intent to sell village-owned land below market value.
Oh, okay.
That's all it needed to say.
Okay.
It just was very vague.
Okay.
Okay.
Lower
we
the
just
price
need
of
to
the
move
lots.
Okay.
That's okay. Sorry. And we're not going to public hearing. Your automatic 60-day advertising. There's no public
Okay.
hearing.
Okay,
It's just 60 days.
So these both need to be rescinded then,
Okay, just a question.
right? Because one was about the price and one is about.
I have-
public
Well,
hearing.
no, the one about the price, because
Give me
that
1
was,
minute.
that was getting what we possibly could sell them for, right?
Right.
So the one that we're gonna rescind,
Is,
I have to do both because now we're not going to public hearing. Right? 2020,
okay, yeah, just do both of them.
and then have a fresh
Yeah.
motion.
so I will rescind 2024-08-23 also.
Okay,
Okay, Adam had a question.
Shoot.
Sorry.
Okay. My question is when you said, that we don't need to go to public hearing, that it's just for 60 days. Is this of advertising? Does that mean we advertise for 60 days and we collect public response?
yes, we're
And
collecting,
then,
advertising 2 consecutive weeks and then wait 60 days from the last day of the advertising. So from that date that
Mhm.
is published, we wait 60 days, and then if there's no comments, then council can go ahead and sell
Okay,
at below market value. So in your packages, though, you have been you had the advertising, okay, was in there. And public notice that's going to go out. And this is where Martin, I had put on your, a little notation to, if we were wanting to add. It's up to you too.
so,
Yeah.
so we can't add the recycle building to
Yes, you can.
sale, no, because we
No.
still have power running into it.
You know, you can sell land. We're selling the land, right? So this is just, you're just saying that you're selling land below market value and you're listing
Okay,
the plan block lot. That's why I thought if you wanted to add the recycle building in here, then we don't have to go through the same process as last time.
I see.
But that would just be,
we can just add it, but just not advertise it as for sale. Because
Right.
we would still have to get rid of the power out of it, right? Before we could,
for memory lane.
before we can
Oh.
sell it, we have to remove their power.
Yes.
That's my,
Oh,
right?
yeah, yeah.
So
Yeah.
we either make a plan to move that power down to the SO building? Or we just don't say anything about it being for sale right now?
No, we just listed in this advertising
Okay.
though. So we would add that one to, I would be saying it's Plan 2548M, Block 2, Lot 2021, municipally known as 124 Christian Avenue. That's
Okay.
all it says.
Okay,
But you still have, you're gonna have 60, 70, 84 days where before you can do something, right? So
if,
2 weeks, no,
yeah.
1, 2.
74.
My only concern is we're not guaranteed we're keeping the SO building.
No, I know, but this gives you the
So,
option to.
This
go.
would give us the option to sell it.
And then
Yeah.
we would have to do it later.
Then we'd have to do the power, right?
Well,
There is power
Okay,
there already.
okay,
So,
I have no more questions.
okay,
Now I gotta try to come up with a motion.
just one bit of discussion, because I'm in favor of doing this. But I think we need to be very clear with our residents and partners in Memory Lane. Because if, you see this, that's on there, we'd have to be very clear in our communications that our intent is not to leave them high and dry without power.
Yeah,
mhm,
yeah, they would have to have a letter for sure.
Yeah.
Mike's thinking,
So if there's a possibility of offending anybody, why do we put it in there?
To reduce costs so we don't have to do this same process again of 2 weeks of advertising in
don't think-
60 days.
and I don't think we'd offend them. They might just read it and panic, right?
yeah,
We
But
can
if
just let them know
Yeah.
we've done it.
Yeah, that's,
just because if
that's all we need
there's an
to do.
offer.
Communication.
I want to be open and communicate with them because I know they wanted us to put a caveat on the building so that they would be guaranteed power.
See, there's always gonna be power at the SO building. Even if there's no SO building, we could build a little
Power shot.
shed, right? To put the power in. We can
Yeah, or
always
even
move.
even just on a pole.
Yeah, we
Yes.
can always get them power, right? Okay,
Mhm.
okay, I will move to advertise council's intent to sell village-owned land below market value. Now, do I have to add in there about
The public
The-
notice,
public notice and advertising?
I don't think so, because it's
No.
part of the
Okay.
procedure.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I just wanted to
Okay.
make sure council was okay with adding that property to the public notice.
Any more discussion?
Have we rescinded the former motion? Has
Yes,
that been
Yes.
rescinded?
Yeah.
We voted on that?
Um,
Yes.
there was no vote. You made a move.
He
to do
moved it?
that. We didn't have a vote.
Sorry,
need a vote.
all in favor to rescind those
It was 2024-08-22
and
and
23?
23.
All in favor?
Yeah.
Thank you. Sorry, that got out of my way. Good job.
You're confusing the hell out of me. man.
Sorry.
We're going way too fast on this and not succinct enough for me.
Okay. So now I have another motion on the floor. All in favor?
What is the motion?
Move to advertise council's intent to sell village-owned land below market value.
Okay.
All in favor? Carried.
Okay. So, right.
Martin made that.
Bear lot purchase agreement, move to table next meeting.
Yeah, I have it in the package. I'd just like for you guys to review it. It will need to be changed now because of the land use bylaw changing. Okay, so that has to be all reworded. But in here, building commitment, there's section 3. The purchaser shall obtain a development permit prior to commencing construction and within 90 days of date of closing. So you're saying they gotta start construction, they got 3 months. Building within 6 months of the date, 10% of the construction needs to be completed within 6 months. They have a 12-month, this fair lot purchase agreement has to be done, they have to be done in 12 months. So
Okay,
we need to.
Change it.
we need to change that.
Yeah.
So you said it is in here?
No, it's in the package that I saw.
I did see it. I just wanted.
Yeah.
Can you give me a
So-
paper copy?
Yeah.
Please.
So we can table that. Actually, I have extra copies.
I will move to
Right.
table.
Yeah.
Bear lot purchase agreement to next meeting. All in favor? Carried. Library lease.
I read it.
Oh, sorry, in regards to the property, the lots for sale. I'll be bringing this back, but Dennis would like to suggest placing a condition on the sale that the new owner must build on the property within a reasonable amount of time, okay? But he also wants to make it noted that just because they're buying it below assessed value, market value doesn't change the
Your
assessment,
assessment on it.
okay?
Yeah,
So, because I had concerns, because he was very adamant about it, saying that's could change things. Well, if you make it noted that this does not change your assessment. So
Mhm.
if you sell it, your assessment stays the same. Even though you bought it for 20,000, the property's assessed at
Taxed at.
40,000, that's what you're taxed at.
yeah,
Okay.
So they
Yeah.
can't come back on him later and say, well, I only paid
yeah,
25,000.
and no, and that
So-
makes sense. that
And
they
that'll
know
be
that.
part of the bare lot purchase agreement.
Okay.
Okay?
That's a fair lot.
Yeah, I've got extra copies of that at my.
I'm just wondering if there's something should be added in there to prevent the issue that's happening now over there, where they have to maintain their building within their property.
Yes, and
Yeah,
That's something that should be in there.
Yeah, and I was very surprised that Grays did that.
Mhm.
I was very surprised. They typically don't do
And-
that.
Well, you can't, I mean,
Ask.
because we can't actually sell it, so they should be, they're using it, there would be
Yeah.
a fee and an agreement, right?
Mhm.
Mhm,
Because that's our land.
yeah.
I thought they would have talked to you. I seen when I went to WRC.
It actually has been a gong show from
Couldn't
the
believe it.
get-go, because they even delivered the lumber on the other side of the road.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
then they had to.
I talked to Dennis about that and he had given them instructions, put it on the property in front of the house. So it was out of his hands. It was
Yeah.
some idiot.
Yeah, and left the
That did
box
that.
of
Yeah.
anchors, everything right there,
I seen
like
it all.
for somebody to drive by and
Yeah.
just chuck into your truck
We-
and go.
Going back to what's happening over there with the easement access and stuff, I can understand that happening.
Mhm.
I don't have a problem with that because that lot is the way the house is on the property,
Mhm.
they had no other way of doing that because when they dig the hole, they got no other access. I don't have a problem with them doing that, but I do have a problem with them leaving it the way it is
Mhm.
for us to deal with.
Yeah.
And I mean, the guy that's building, he's a good guy. I've had several conversations with him. And he's not taking advantage of us
No.
by putting the stuff there. But
He didn't really do it though.
yeah, Grace came in and dumped 6 or 7 loads of gravel on the property between him and me. Right? And that's how it started.
Mhm.
And so
So
I think Grace stepped outside the boundaries.
actually, can you contact Greg
I can.
and have a conversation with him and say, if you're going to do that, you need to have a conversation with the office before you just assume you can do it.
That's all.
Yeah. Communication again. Mhm.
9 times out of 10, we're not gonna have a problem with it, but what if somebody else bought that lot next door and they didn't know and they just dumped
Yeah, what if we had just sold it?
I get lots of free gravel.
lots of free gravel?
Well, I was thinking about going over there and help myself, but
If only-
I'll do that.
Justin comes in with skid steers all the time. I would have loaded one up for you. Okay. Is that it for that then? Library lease.
Oh, so actually, this is in your package because it just came in this afternoon.
Oh.
So we worked on a lease agreement with the library here in the office. They want to express that they cannot afford this water line break. They would like the village to contribute towards large capital expenses.
Okay, so
we
now
had-
I'm gonna ask a question. So are we going to be willing to do that with every other building we own in town?
Well,
Because if we do it for one, they all sign lease agreements just like the library. So I'm just saying, if we do it for one, we have to do it for everybody.
We set a precedence.
The library has a different, I'll let you-
I understand that.
yeah,
But if you take apart the part that we don't pay insurance for anybody else. Any of our other buildings. Right? Okay, you go ahead.
Well, I have a question on that. If the village owns the building, correct?
Mhm.
Why is it that the library is on the hook for the repairs on that when they don't own it? The village owns it.
Have they been signing a lease for 30+ years that says?
They have, yes, but
Okay.
that's the issue that's up right now, is what I'm saying.
Okay, but what I'm saying is that if we're going to do it for one, then we better be prepared to do it for the others. So that is the curling rink and the arena, because I can guarantee that word gets out and they're gonna be standing at our door going, "It's your building here too." You know what I'm saying?
the curling rink did all their own renovations,
So has the arena.
and so has the.
Well, all I'm saying is I can't understand why that goes on the way it does. If the owner,
So
if you own it, you're responsible for it.
that's not.
I don't believe that they should be on the hook for that.
I was looking at it kind of the same way, but I think the thing is where I see it is if I was not the village and I was leasing something to a renter or a leasee, I would be responsible for my own, for the maintenance of the building, absolutely. And then as the leaseor, I would be charging them a monthly rate for the lease in order to recoup the expenses that I would have to do to maintain the building. In this lease agreement, it is a lease for $1. So it's kind of a balancing act. We're giving them essentially $0 of rent to be able to have the responsibility to maintain the building. But it is a risk because maintenance of the building can be expensive. But if we're maintaining the building, then I would say, then we need to have some guarantee and then have to charge rent. But the thing is also, I wanted to make one more comment, sorry, is just, there is a little bit of a difference in the fact that, for example, the curling rink, I don't know. My perception is the curling rink and the Ag Society that rents the skating rink have more capacity for revenue streams than the library does.
Big time.
Because the library
Okay, I'm just gonna,
don't have rentals.
yeah, I know, but they don't have the over costs that
You're
the
right.
arena does either. The power bill alone at the arena. So they're really, in my opinion, yes, they are different, but they're not a lot different because the library's overhead is zero. Basically, right? So if they rent the building, yeah, because they don't pay insurance. We pay their insurance.
You don't pay the insurance on the building.
We don't, okay, but we don't on these two. They pay their own insurance. We pay it, they pay us. Like,
So, I mean, for me, the question is that responsibility typically lies at the property line. So there's two leases. One is the lessor pays all of it. One, they don't, right? So it depends on, and so industrial property, oftentimes it is a full cost, but it's at the property line, right? So if we're making the assumption that anyone renting is responsible for any maintenance beyond the property line, like, that, in my view, that's where we are outside of our boundaries. Because when it goes across under the municipal owned sidewalk and into the street, to me, to put that onto the renter that's atypical. That would not be a typical lease because typically with responsibility comes access. So they
I
can't
don't-
just go in and access.
I don't think it goes past property line, does it?
It was on their property, the break.
The break was on their property
Right, but they dug up our sidewalk
and we are the
Yes.
ones paying for it.
for our sidewalk.
Yes.
Yeah.
We have to pay to replace our sidewalk.
Yeah.
But our bylaw is to the property line is. And they've been signing a lease for I don't know how many years. So
Yeah.
They just-
I don't know how we're gonna do this without setting a precedent, and we better be prepared. Cause that's what I'm saying is if we do it for one, we have to do it for them all. So we can either do two things. We can start charging the library their insurance and rent, like we do them. Or we don't charge any of them anything and we pay everybody's insurance.
I don't know. I don't agree that they have to be the same. Because a lease agreement's a lease agreement, right? So if we change this lease agreement, that doesn't mean we have to change the other lease agreements.
I'm just saying, you're gonna open up a can of worms and you're gonna set a precedent. That's all I'm saying. And I will be the first one.
So the precedent you're saying is if we have a water line break at the curling rink or
The arena.
the arena, they would want us to pay. Right. So, but but both of these, all three of these, if you were to say separate leases, they're completely separate from one another, right? So
Mhm.
governance is also done on the ability to pay. If the library doesn't have the ability to pay, and we believe that, then we're ultimately on the hook anyways. If it comes to a line break at the arena or the curling rink, they may or may not at that time have the ability to pay,
Right.
right? So I don't think we have to look at it like we're setting precedents, because we're not going to change those other two leases.
Well, I won't vote to make the leases different. In a municipal owned building, the way I look at it is they should all be exactly the same.
Well, that's one vote. I mean, but we have to get past this, right?
Mhm.
Because if they can't afford to pay it, which I believe that they can't afford to pay
But
it.
they did just have a golf tournament.
I don't understand how that, like,
Well, I don't know how they don't have any money. Was my question.
well, don't we get their financials?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, go ahead.
I have two outside the box thoughts that if you like, I would like some time to research. One is that perhaps what we need is not an alteration to the lease in regards to capital spending and such, but a lease and then an agreement. And an agreement would have some kind of financial attachment to it. It could be a temporary agreement with regards to how this water main gets paid or not paid or covered or whatever. It could be an agreement that goes into the future that says that, sort of like how we give 5,000 small cap to the fire, we would commit to a small amount for a recreation and culture budget to go towards the library. So perhaps what would alleviate some of their concern doesn't need to be adjusted in the lease, because that's about building care and maintenance, and it can be adjusted outside of the lease in the form of an agreement. My second thought, outside the box thought, is I did spend some time with the AGLC handbook today. The library is pretty certain that they run casinos, but can barely use any of the money for the casino. But I would like some time to talk to AGLC, because from what I read, that's not true. And if we start, if they start paying rent, or if we start charging a rent, it might throw them under the bus on how they can use casinos as a charitable organization for facility and salary. And it just depends on how things are set up. Salary can be paid for running nonprofit programs. So if they are willing to, because the issue here is they have, like you said, a limited revenue stream. They have a very tight budget. They can run lots of programs because they're free. They give out the memberships, those are paid for by the Alliance. Their donation revenue source, almost half of it goes to the expense of running fundraisers. And so they need some source of income. If the casinos is a source of income that they're running, or the Friends, the S-Force group is running, but they can't tap into it adequately, the problem might not be that they're a library trying to tap into a casino. It might be how they're structuring their program. And if they can structure it differently so it fits the AGLC's criteria, then they can start using that money. So I just tipped into that today. So I thought
Because
that I
it's
would-
not the library that's running a casino.
No, but
It's-
the
yeah, it's something
AGLC has, the AGLC has avenues for using their money to a facility
Mhm.
and to a salary, which would accommodate two very large expenses. And one of the facility things is that it will pay for rent. And so I'm not clear though, if the rent can be acquired by a municipal government, seems like it can't be. But if we rent it out to the S-Force, and then they use their money to pay the S-Force for rent. So it's just some designing, right, to make it fit into the criteria.
Mhm.
So I want to understand the AGLC a little bit better
Okay.
to see if there's ways to help out, because then they don't have to struggle so much they can cost save in other areas. If they save in their salaries, that's I think 30,000 or so a year that they save, and then they can pay for their water meter, right? And so just some things like that.
So just a side question. So we have basically, it's been paid for.
Well, yeah, the village is.
The village is paid for. Okay.
Now, in the past, we couldn't, well, when I first got on council, when a person had a water main break, the village would pay for the fixing of it. And then the resident would pay back to the village
Mhm.
in installments
Yeah,
the cost of the break. We can't do that because legally it's illegal for us to do that. And when we found that out, that stopped. And I'm not saying that we go and do something illegal, but maybe a research of what avenues we can do to, because I guess the thing is like, I think I understand the library. It's what they're saying is we can't afford this, meaning we can't afford this big chunk
mhm.
all at once, which is true.
Yeah, and I get it.
I can see their point. So it's like, do I want to help out an organization that's in our community? Yes. Do I want to be fair to other organizations in the community too? Or yes, because sometimes it's hard for the village to be the one that saves people in trouble because we have rules that govern us too.
I mean, at one point, the church had a leak. All right, you remember when the church had their water leak and we had the CRISP funding. So that was one way to help them out, right?
And it coincided with the way that CRISP's
Mhm.
funding was supposed to be intended to be spent because it was supposed to help augment services that were to both the county and the
Mhm.
village. So that kind of fit.
Yeah,
Too bad we don't have CRISP funding.
go ahead.
So council can give your nonprofit groups a loan through a bylaw. You just have to do it through a bylaw. Like we did.
We did the
for-
arena.
We did the memory lane.
Yes, we did.
Memory lane and the arena.
In the arena.
So just a question, just to clarify in my head. So the library, we own the building, we rent to them for $1, correct? Okay. The church, do we own the church?
No.
No. So they own the church, but they had a water line break, but we use CRISP funding for repair.
No, we gave them
We-
CRISP funding.
We gave them
They did
CRISP.
Whatever.
Every organization could come here and ask for CRISP funding.
Okay,
So that not-for-profit organization came and asked for CRISP.
that's right. So the library is a not-for-profit. They could have come and asked for it, but we don't have any more.
CRISP funding is dead.
Yes. Okay. The library, or sorry, the arena and the curling rink both pay a monthly lease, or they don't rent for $1.
$1. Yeah.
They get the same thing.
They get the same thing.
They're
They-
all congruent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That part is all the same.
Okay, that's what I was just wondering.
They're all responsible for the maintenance, and upkeep of the building.
Yeah. Okay, that's just what I was trying to clarify.
Okay. Just as a question, because we were talking about setting precedents, we've set a precedent because we've given other organizations that are not for profit a loan
Mhm.
that we're allowed to do by bylaw to allow them to pay back in small lumps instead of one large
I
lump.
have no problem.
My
doing that.
question, just as a follow-up question, is that loan a 0% loan or is that loan interest?
With interest, because you're using resident money to pay for nonprofit.
Okay, and that was the same as with the other organizations. Okay,
Are those other loans paid back?
Yes.
this would allow them to have, I guess here's the thing. That's an avenue that we can actually help.
Yes.
And what it does is it alleviates, if they're interested in it, it alleviates the shock of one big lump sum and breaks it up into multiple sums.
That does set precedent.
And I'm all
It
for
follows
doing,
precedent.
right? It does follow the precedent we've done.
Yeah, so it's actually even better.
Right, because we did it already.
Well, it allows us to help, but it's also very clear that we can't give it away. But we're still doing our part to help.
So do you think do you think they would like that or not?
No.
They want us to pay the whole thing.
They just keep coming back, and I know that the village is the property owner. But the whole lease agreement, so that they don't pay a rent, is the arrangement that you and pay for the maintenance of the building and the upkeep, because it's long-term. You're not just there for 2 or 3 years. The Ag Society will hopefully be there forever and ever, and the same with the curling rink, right? It's,
In perpetuity.
How do you define maintenance?
well, it's,
Absolutely anything?
yeah, anything to do with the building. You're responsible for the upkeep and repairs of the building.
I can understand the upkeep, but major repairs is a different thing.
Go ahead, Jed.
Well, we did take their list of repairs from 2012 or so, which included roof, windows, carpet, some big ones, some little ones, and it averaged to 6,000 a year.
So can I ask just a quick question? So how is, in the big scheme of things, how is the roof different from the water line?
It's not. Everybody's paid for their own roofs or doors or carpet or flooring.
But they paid for all that up until this point. Now that they don't have the funds,
Yes,
they
they
don't
had-
want us.
And we did, okay, so
I was
Sorry.
on the board at that time. They had a very large amount in the GIC that we were encouraged to use up because it was being saved over many years for roof and windows, and so it just finally got used. That's where it's not like they had a windfall of money anywhere.
Yeah.
So
It's a
going-
long time savings.
going back to 2016, because that's how far I could track Chris money and grants that we were giving out. We've given them in grants from 2016, $34,000. We've paid for insurance, $25,727.46, and then annually they get $1,500, so that's $9,000. So overall, in
For the last, 8 years?
yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 24 is not on here.
Okay, so
Oh, yeah,
7
okay,
years.
so 7 years, 68,727. So approximately, 10,000 a year. towards them.
How much is the line break total? Like, what's the outstanding dollar value?
It's 10,000, I think it was,
Okay.
and then it's not even including the sidewalk, so typically, if somebody has a water line break and they're taking up the sidewalk, they have to put the sidewalk back, right?
If it's a private resident,
Yeah. But
but not this.
I don't think that's right either.
what's that?
Never mind, that's another discussion.
Yeah. Well, it's coming up. So, and then they spent since 2009, 92,307, like Jen said, break it down into the years, it's about $6,000 a year. So, and again, this is where everybody's coming with asset management. It's really important to put money away every year for all these little projects like the council has been doing, putting into the reserves. We have a good reserve compared to some municipalities.
And on that note, it should probably be noted that the library is asking that, not that we just cover everything with zero contribution on their part. They're asking that they can squirrel away something modest, like $1,000. And then if a major occurrence happened, they would pay their $1,000, kind of like insurance in the States. You pay your deductible, and then the village will come in to make up the difference.
So this afternoon, the letter that was sent was 2,500, that they could pay up to 2,500, and then larger structural repairs and the responsibility of the village and are negotiated and shared.
They're looking for financial relief and predictability for their budget. Yeah, but like I said, I would like time to research other options.
Ellen
Make
Bray
a
did
decision.
stop in and express his concerns for, the continuance of the library, and that he was here when this all got started and would be,
Shane Jones.
Well, I'm not against the library.
No.
I want to make sure that you guys know that. I just, it's just, we own a lot more than just that building. I don't know what the arena insurance is and what the curling rink insurance is a year that they pay.
I think it's around 11,007.
Yeah.
So you want more time to do more research. Okay. I'm fine with that. Anything else before we move to table?
So we could just accept Lori's letter as information, and
I will move her letter as information. All in favor? Carried. Would somebody like to move to table library lease? Larry?
Just as a question on it before.
Yeah, that's fine. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
So the one that was put out in our package, was this the one that was worked on with the library and that they agreed to?
well, they were supposed to send us a schedule, and by the letter, they decided not to do that now.
Okay, so,
This is the red
I
line
don't think
Yeah.
they,
result of that conversation.
okay,
judging from the meeting we had just the other night.
Okay.
They haven't agreed to it.
No,
so there's, so it's still in discussion, so there really isn't anything we can do with it
No.
anyways.
Yeah,
we went through it line by line,
it's a
and
process.
yeah,
it is.
most of it, but again, they do not agree with them being responsible for the building. So that's a big sticking point.
So I did a little bit of research. I asked the village in Rocky Ford how it works over there, and it's basically exactly the same as the way we do it here. The lease is exactly the same.
And I believe
I think that
when
they
we
don't,
contacted it's done through another society. It's leased to the community group, and then community groups then,
Subleases it to the
Mhm.
library.
yeah.
Mhm.
There's a couple different ways, right? So maybe, like you said, we need to research this
Okay.
more for
Okay.
why are they doing it that way? What, what benefit?
I would
what
like to
benefit?
know what
Yeah,
more
yeah.
more areas do.
Mhm. Okay.
So there's a
Move to
motion.
table. Go ahead, Mike. Yeah.
Do we want to float the idea of the loan, or do we want to wait for more research from the staff?
I think we wait for research.
Okay. I will guarantee we'll do the loan thing anyway, but if they're not wanting to do the loan, then
Officially,
officially, yeah. So
we're doing
Okay.
the loan thing now.
we are doing the loan thing already. Basically, we're just not getting paid back.
But other nonprofits owe us money. This town.
Not at present.
No, not at present, yeah. We
I
just
thought there
got,
was no standing from.
Memory Lane just paid it yesterday. No, today, in full.
I forgot about that.
Good
Mhm.
news.
So all in favor to table? Carried. Capital budget move to,
Yeah, well, I was trying to come up with a plan to do a capital budget.
we'll move to table.
Yeah,
I'll move to table. All in favor? Carried. Water line sidewalk repair. Oh, here we go.
yeah. So more what this is though is the sidewalk.
On Main Street.
Yeah, in front of the library. Yeah. We need to fix it. We need to fix it before the winter,
Mhm. Yes.
so. Okay, so.
Yeah.
I do have still my 5,000 left from my sidewalk repairs. So we could put it towards that.
Okay.
Most of the other sidewalks that need repair are full repairs, so
Okay.
it's 5,000
Okay.
is not going to go very
So-
far there.
So everyone's aware, Worthington Construction has done work for the town,
Mhm.
and in previous discussions, we said we weren't. So I did some more research. So if it's a town councilor's involved in a company, owner on our board of a company that regularly does work for a town, has done work in the past, they can still tender it.
Oh, okay.
So I could still give a bid. Because my thought is, if I bid on it, I don't have to mold from Strathmore or Drum. Might cost less if I do it.
Yeah.
And based on the document I was reading, it's not a conflict.
Mm.
Because it's a separate legal entity. It's a limited liability corporation that had been doing work for the town previously.
Before, yeah.
Yeah.
So
As long as.
anyways, I'm just putting it out there.
So where'd you read that? I just want to be,
In the big thick one that I got it from Canley, it's the act.
oh, municipal affairs,
Yeah,
Okay.
the
for the MGA.
MGA, yeah.
But I think you would still have to declare pecuniary interest and remove when that. tender-
Yeah.
Oh, I can't vote on it. No, I can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Can you
Yeah.
just double check everything?
Yeah,
Make
okay.
sure I have no
But yes, the
problem with it?
sidewalk needs to be.
Yes,
The other thought we had, because we were discussing it a little bit, was if council was okay. If the boys, the public works could learn how to do sidewalks, and then we have these little pieces that they could do themselves. Right, so, but
I have no problem with
Yeah.
that either. I
Okay.
told you that on the phone. I have no issue with that. It,
like full sidewalks, no, but like when you got just like a piece to replace and, you know.
Yeah, they just might need to rent some specialty equipment or whatever, right?
okay,
So
somebody
it's
want
gotta
to
get
move,
replaced, yeah.
somebody want to move to fix that.
I move that we repair the sidewalk on Broadway
All in favor?
In front of the library.
in front of the library.
Carried. Meeting at sports ground. Meeting sports ground, I mean.
Yeah, sorry, this was actually, I didn't even see it, but this was my 10.12C report, but do you want to discuss it now or reports?
I think it belongs in reports.
Okay, let's, remove from the agenda. It was just like the word in sports groups.
URW for industrial park, move to register utility right of way for the industrial park with LTO.
Land titles office. So that was exactly what Al was here. He was showing you all the right of ways. We're gonna register everything all at the same time and then it's done.
Okay, I'll make that motion. All in favor? Carried. Financial reports. Need somebody move to adopt August financials as presented. Anybody see anything? Any questions?
Yeah, I didn't look at, I was just looking at the one.
Just for information, your one 90-day demand account has been returned to your operating account now.
That was a transfer.
So it's back in your account.
Hmm.
You need that up any more time. Mike, you have some questions?
Yeah, there's just a few things like in,
Oh, BVR.
yeah.
Give me a second, I stepped to the side here.
There's just a few things, just a few examples where we have GL codes where we're billing to, but we budgeted to a different GL code.
Yeah, there is some errors in the submission, so, see repayment of services here, there shouldn't be anything here, so it just got coded to the wrong account. If there's a number here, it means it was budgeted. If it's not, then there shouldn't be anything here, so this is an error.
Yeah, so this needs to go to a different GL code.
That's correct.
Because under accounting principles, if we don't have a budget, we
That's
can't
right.
spend
Yeah.
without a
Yeah.
vote.
The only time that might happen though, let me see here, repayment of services. It
There's a
may
couple-
happen
there's
in a
couple-
revenue
there's a
account.
couple- Oh, in the revenue account.
Yeah, see, for
Yeah.
example, columbariums, we don't put an amount in the budget, but we have received $8,400, which is about a third of columbarium costs, so. Yeah.
Yeah.
The expense side, yeah, there's, I am having an issue with my Paymate program where it's not exporting it back to the GL, so you'll see.
Oh, okay.
You'll see a huge, I haven't been able to export since February, and it's missing. It's just a
Okay,
computer issue.
okay,
Computers, yes.
okay, yeah, so that looks like,
Yeah,
so like,
But-
so right now in corporate world.
Yeah.
It's budget time, right?
Mhm.
So budget time is looking back.
Yeah.
So there's a few, so right now you're at 8 months, so we should be at 67% spent. If it's a flat fee, right? So a
Mhm.
flat cost would be like admin, general admin, right? So our annual budget's 72,000.
So that's the one that I'm saying,
Yeah.
it's not,
9,000.
it won't export the information to the GL. So until I fix the other program that runs the software, then it won't export it to here. So,
Okay,
yeah, that's the problem. It did once, it did in January, and then
Yeah.
it wouldn't do it again. So,
yeah,
yeah.
because then it
But
just makes it
so
hard
what
to
you're
project.
basically looking at, though, if you look at the bottom numbers, is your total year to date and not look at the different departments compared to, but again, it's not
Yeah,
going
it's
to
still
be,
gonna fail up because it's,
look at your,
okay,
so those are your expenses now. This is your revenues only up to here.
yeah, no, I'm looking
Yeah.
at general admin,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
So we're looking at.
Yeah.
Like this number's clearly wrong, right?
Yeah,
So
but if you
this-
look at it still hasn't been exported though, so
Right, yeah, so the bottom line totals are not gonna be correct if this doesn't correct.
No.
that's right, yeah,
Okay,
yeah, unfortunately.
unfortunately.
Yeah, there's just been a.
So is that all your questions? Is
It's
all
a-
that,
It's
probably that computer program problem?
Budget. Yeah, well, then there's one other thing that where we took municipal zoning and planning.
Mhm.
So we budgeted 8,400, we've spent 12,300.
Yeah, again, probably a coding error. And Microsoft, they changed something and they don't allow me to go in and
You're not the
fix
only one,
problems.
you're not the only one having problems with it.
Yeah.
It sounds like it is everybody that is running Minisoft
Oh,
is
is
having
it?
issues, yes.
Yeah,
Yvette keeps a list, so that way when all the corrections are made in one go, nothing is.
yeah,
Because it's a process to do.
yeah.
So are we gonna be able to move to adopt these if that is not correct? then?
The BVR,
Yeah,
no, it's still good. Yeah,
okay, all
Well,
right,
your bank reconciliation, everything is all
Yeah.
balanced.
okay. We want to move to adopt August financials as presented with errors and.
what?
That's not part of the motion, man.
No, I was just joking. I wasn't making the motion. All right. Somebody go ahead.
I'll move to adopt the August financials as presented.
All in favor? Carry.
Before we move on, do we know when, do we have a timeline on when this will be repaired? A guess, even a guess?
Yeah, I have to phone Paymate, so I would have to phone Paymate. So,
Before next meeting.
yeah, it has been my intent, but there's just been a lot coming through the office
once contact with the software developers or like the software companies is made, how long does it usually take for them to rectify the problems?
Oh, it won't be long. As soon as I just have to find the error. There's a number missing in the,
Coding.
You have to find the.
I have to find the error. Yeah.
Might
And
be
it's just-
sounds like a mapping, like a fat finger on a GL code,
Yeah.
mapping right from one to the other.
It's a number. It tells me it won't allow me to export that information until I fix this number. It's missing a number somewhere in the whole,
Code, okay.
in the staff entries, there's something missing, so I've got to go back and forth and compare everybody's and make sure everybody's matches, and then so one's gonna be out somewhere, so it's just a bit
Finding
of
a
work.
penny.
Yeah, takes a bit of work,
Who
so.
made that motion?
Mike made it.
All in favor? Carried. Correspondence. MPF Alberta administered funding fire training.
Yeah, so they will be receiving some funding for fire training.
Do they know this?
It should have been sent to them. I'm gonna send it to them.
No, I saw that it was 500,000.
Well, I think it's total.
That's what I was wondering,
Yeah.
was how far does
Yeah.
that 500,000 have to spread? Like
Yeah.
province wide or? Well, that's not that much.
We'll take it all.
Yeah,
Training for the next 40 years.
yeah.
So we want to move to accept correspondence as information.
I'll make the motion.
All in favor? Carried. New business 9-1 road closure bylaw. Move to give first reading to road closure bylaw 2024-10.
So we are closing the road, and we will eventually, Leonard Holmes will take over and consolidate that piece with his parcel, and then we will have to open a new road. But this is what we have to send for Alberta Transportation, and this is the bylaw. So we have to make first reading, and then we send it to them for approval.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
Apparently-
Everybody's understands what she's talking about.
No,
It was in the package.
Yeah.
with your-
Do you want to put the map
Yeah.
up? on
Oh,
that?
sure,
Yeah.
yeah, good idea.
So. Long time ago,
This is home
somebody
234.
built a fence,
Somebody built a fence right here.
and that is actually
An
considered the alley.
alleyway.
So,
See.
he was.
where is that?
Right down by Donald Sundergaard, right
Across the
across the road
street
from
from-
Don's house,
Okay,
Leonard Holmes.
I was thinking,
all right.
There's
Yeah.
that spare lot, the
So-
track is right there. in the
Yeah.
top.
I highlighted it on the map, the piece that we're closing, so. and that's-
So that alley he has offered to purchase that part of
When,
the land, right?
when it's all complete.
When it's
yeah.
all done.
Yeah, and he's paying for all the expenses. That's the.
So basically, alls we have to do is close that alley.
Okay.
It's never been used because there's a fence there.
Well, and there's no back alley, like it's not
There's-
gravel, there's maintained.
No.
It's just.
It's always been implied
It's
it's a part of
just,
the yard.
It's always been part of his yard.
I'll make the motion.
Move to give first
I'll make the
reading.
motion to move to give first reading for road closure bylaw 2024-10.
So then we'll need somebody to move to send bylaw 2024-10 to Alberta.
first we need to.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was thinking it was the same. All in favor? Carried. Okay,
Actually, we keep doing it backwards. We keep talking about it before we make the motion.
yeah,
Okay.
okay. Somebody want to make a motion to send
Go ahead.
Mike?
I'll move to send bylaw 2024-10 to Alberta Transportation for approval.
Any conversation? All in favor? Carried.
You'll be lucky if you see it back in a year.
Cost per acres.
We'll have to table.
Okay.
Okay.
I will move to table till ABT approves.
Alberta Transportation.
All in favor?
Okay.
Carried. Disclosure conflict of interest.
My wife is a lawyer, a family law lawyer at Getz Collins. So there's a perceived conflict. There's no actual, there might be a perceived conflict. Or
Right.
potential future conflict.
Move to the village council.
The
Right.
village isn't married or getting divorced, so it's likely not.
Randy Collins suggested that he just discloses it to council,
that's
so
good.
everybody's
Okay.
aware. So,
I don't think we're getting married yet.
I will move to acknowledge.
Oh my God.
All in, any other questions? All in favor? Carried. Bell MCA.
okay, this has been tabled a couple times, and now I finally figured out, this is just an agreement, a communication agreement, so that this allows the village to communicate with Bell.
I make the motion to move to sign the master communication agreement with Bell to allow the village to communicate with Bell.
I'll take it back.
All in
Aye.
favor? Any other questions first? All in favor? Carried. Columbarium policy.
Sorry, just remove the word policy, columbarium.
Okay. Put cemetery columbarium sales into restricted reserve. I will move. We put them into restricted reserve for the purchase of the next columbarium when the first one's full. All in favor?
Oh.
Sorry,
Sorry, so
Conversation.
it's the auditors that require this motion. Anytime you put anything into reserves or out, there'll be a
Okay.
motion or it'd be part of the budget. So because we're gonna have, there's kind of like a policy we're gonna develop, but everything that all the sales go towards the future. And then when we have enough, I think is when we should be putting, like, we're a third of the way there now to a new one. So it's purchase it now before.
Price goes
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
all in favor?
Yeah.
Carried. Power proposal AB Munis.
Okay. So, good news, bad news. I was working with Alberta Munis and 8760 to compare prices for our next tender. We only have, there's this fall tender and there'll be 2 tenders next year before our contract is up. So typically, we always are jumping on one probably a year before so that we lock in a good rate. So we discovered today, because Alberta Munis had our invoices and stuff, and discovered that it's not worth it to go to Alberta Munis. We get a better rate with 8760 because they have a lower per site fee than Alberta Munis does. So he says, because you're a low usage user, he says you're better off to stay with Alberta Munis
I mean,
for renewing our contract.
You said stay with Alberta Munis. You need
Oh,
to
stay with 8760. Sorry.
Okay.
This is a contract for electrical supply?
Yes, electrical and gas. So, in your package, you did have both packages in comparison.
Mhm.
Right now, we sit at $5.73 a kilowatt. It's looking like it's going to be 7.3 if we jump on this next tender, but the deadline is unfortunately September 20th. Gas is $2.55 at 50% volume, and the other 50% floats. We're looking to be increased at $3.70 on this next tender.
so prices
So-
are going up.
It's going up. Now, you can wait till the next one, but if the next one goes up again, it could be worse.
When is 8760
They
their tender?
twice a year, spring and fall. So they're putting out one now, and you will know probably back once they compile everything, October, I think.
And you said we're better to stay with 8760.
Yes. But we still have another year for our contract, so it's totally up to council whether or not
It jumped down.
to jump now or wait, but you only have 2 more tenders after this one, so.
No, let's wait. Every economist on the planet is talking about a crash.
I agree.
So if you would like to wait for the next one, we can wait.
Somebody want to make a motion to wait? You need a motion to wait.
Um,
No,
No, I'm not doing anything.
no.
To accept as information.
Yeah, okay.
I'll move to accept the power discussion as information.
Yeah, and that'll be for, we'll just.
Any
combine the
other
two.
conversation? All in favor? Carried. AB Munis,
Okay.
ED benefits.
This was another one that we were working with Alberta Munis, and he did provide sorry. It's in your package, sorry, because I got it,
Covered sheets.
yeah. Right, comparing our Blue Cross right now with Alberta Munis, by switching, we would be saving, comparing apples to apples, we would be saving $1,500 a year. But we need to know again, before the end of the month, to be on for December
And
1st.
it's all very comparable.
Everything is exactly the
Exactly the
same. Actually, some of the benefits are better.
What do you recommend?
Alberta Munis. Because we're double, some of the stuff we're paying for on Alberta Blue Cross, we're also paying on Alberta Munis because we
Okay.
have our long-term or short-term disability with Alberta Munis. So, but Blue Cross also charges us for this stuff over here. So that's why we'd be saving. So,
It's no brainer in my opinion.
yeah.
Somebody want to make a motion?
I'll make the motion to move to switch employee benefits to Alberta Muni starting December 1st, 2024.
All in favor? Carried. Fortis franchise fee.
Okay.
Move to set or leave it.
So we are at, Fortis is 4% right now. So we're looking at both, we're gonna be doing Fortis and APCO. 4%, we are looking to be, revenue would be 16,462 for 2025.
Can you explain what that is? Just so we're clear. So I'm
Franchise fee is a fee that Fortis will charge back to recoup their costs that they're paying towards property taxes. So we charge them property taxes, they then charge the users for that fee. But we pay, it's a basically set fee and then it comes out and then we end up with
Comes back to
$16,462.
us.
Comes back to us.
So it's essentially a charge that they put on every person that uses
Yeah.
their
infrastructure.
infrastructure in the
Except
village.
it comes back to that money comes back to the village as a revenue.
So
What's the 4% mean?
that you can charge anywhere up to 20%. We did 4%. We actually never used to charge.
We are extremely low.
Yeah, and if you look in the package, they do have comparisons,
Oh, mhm.
okay, but it was in your package. So we are low, but we started at 4% because APCO was 4%. Originally, we thought we were kind of double dipping the residents, but then it was explained to us that no, because not all users that are using the power are property tax payers. So then that made more sense to us. Okay, so,
So
right?
if I'm
So we
looking at,
decided,
How does that? What do you mean by that?
Like, we don't put property tax on the arena. So we don't make a revenue for property tax, but because of the franchise fee, we get a 4% back from their power usage.
yeah,
And that's 4% on the power usage.
yeah, it's 4%.
There's a lot of places here at zero.
Yeah,
We were at zero.
we were at 0.
Yeah.
Yeah,
there's some that are like Airdrie is sitting at 20%.
yeah.
Well, let's just go to the most corrupt place in Alberta.
Mhm.
So
So-
Chestermere.
We are recording.
11.5.
Yeah.
Oh, I need a power. Why is there not a power? What's NEP said?
Well, and the
Is it
nice,
on the
I
thingy?
guess I shouldn't say the nice thing is it's
Oh,
revenue for us, right? So it
thank
helps,
you.
it helps our budget. That little bit helps our budget too, right?
Like he explained, not everybody is like we were collecting taxes, but not everybody is
Contributing.
contributing towards taxes, right? So
Well, everybody.
and higher
everybody that rents a
users-
house,
higher users will pay a little bit more, right?
Everybody
Yeah,
that
so-
rents a house.
Yeah.
does not pay property tax.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
The owner does, so we get property tax from him, but then we get 4% from the renter
usage.
also, right, from usage. Anyway, anything else on that? Does we want to make a motion to?
So if you want to change that amount, you need to do the advertising. So if everybody, so 5%, you would be looking at 20,578.
I don't want to raise it.
No. Let's leave it, yeah.
I would make a motion, we leave Fortis and ATCO at 4%.
Okay, so they're two
And we
separate
have a
motions.
separate motion.
Yeah.
Okay, I will make Fortis 4%.
So,
All in
so
favor?
leave 4%,
Carried.
4%.
Somebody else can do ATCO.
So move.
All in favor? Carried.
One deal, no advertising.
CCBF MOA. Canada Community Building Fund Memorandum of Agreement.
Yes, so now this is the new funding that will be coming out, so. And this will be for 2024 and 2025. Let's see.
This thing isn't up for debate, is it?
No,
No.
I move that we sign the Canada Community Building Fund Memorandum of Agreement, because we don't have any choice.
Questions? All in favor? Carried. Community Futures Wild Rose invite.
yeah, just for fostering community economic resilience. October 21st from 9 to 2, Strathmore.
We want to move to accept that as information.
I'll make the motion to accept that as information.
Nobody wants to.
All in favor? Anybody wants to go?
I was reading something.
Strathmore feasibility study.
What's
Oh, where's mine? Sorry. Strathmore has sent out, I messed up my cable, sorry. Motion pretty well says it all. To participate in the feasibility assessment for a modified seniors lodge based on the current proposed lodge. So what they want to do is they just want to know if you want to be able to give feedback.
It's basically if this lodge that we're planning right now doesn't go, they want to see if it's going to be feasible that they do it and have us partner with them.
Yeah.
I don't think it's much of a problem to move to participate in it. It's just a feasibility study,
Yeah.
right? So
Just participating.
I will move that we participate in feasibility assessment for a modified seniors lodge based on the current proposed lodge.
What's the cost to us?
For this, nothing.
No.
The feasibility, it's them, they just want to know that we partner if they come down to the lodge. So we basically be the same thing as what we are now. If
Who's doing the study?
Town of Strathmore,
Oh, they're doing it internal.
yes, I shouldn't say that. I don't know who's doing the actual study. They're the ones that are having it done. I
Can we
don't-
make the motion to participate if there's no cost? To do the.
I'm sure there's no cost.
Yeah, there is no
It's
cost.
zero cost.
Okay.
It's just to participate.
Yeah. I will move it. All in favor? Carried. ACP grant.
Yeah, MPE presented us with a proposal for, which was in your package. So the grant we are going to go after is 200,000. We'll go for the max, right? And we are looking at existing infrastructure as the engineers project leads is aging and demand continues to grow for new and enhanced municipal infrastructure. So basically, we're looking to do the studies again, like our 10-year plan that we had. Our last one is 5 years old. We're also looking at incorporating some of the solar stuff into this grant. And there is a little bit of funding for park development, but grant-ready projects or shovel-ready projects. But the deadline is October 1st, but it's just a matter of putting in an application. MPE is going to do all the groundwork as usual. And
Okay. Needed a motion to do this.
yep.
Do they charge us for the application?
There will be some fee, and it's done through the grant application, so it's all be paid through that. So whatever the studies that they do, they're the ones that will be doing the study, and so they get paid through that.
If the grant's awarded.
If the grant's awarded.
That's what I'm saying. Do they get,
Yeah.
we pay them to do the application for the grant?
No,
So they only get
Paid
paid
if
when
yeah.
we
If the
get the
grant's
grant.
awarded, we got paid.
somebody want to make that motion.
I'll move to make the motion.
Okay, it's quite a complex
Do
motion.
you want me to read it?
Yeah, please.
So I'll move to make the motion. The Village of Standard supports the submission of a 2024-2025 Alberta Community Partnership Grant application in support of the Regional Infrastructure Master Plan project and is prepared to manage the grant project and related compliance requirements. This is no matching contribution. There is no matching contribution required.
So the whole key behind this is it's a partnering. So it's partnering with the county. Okay, so that was your motion.
Yes.
Okay.
What do you mean partnering with the county?
So we're going to partner with the county to
Basically, the county acknowledges that it's a good idea, the village does it. And so they support it for the betterment of the whole area. That's the partnership.
so
It's
there's
a vote of
solar,
support.
Parks and Rec, yeah. So, because their residents use our infrastructure, so like the parks will come and use our parks, they come and use our arenas and stuff, so this is gonna be all in partnership with them. They support it. It doesn't cost them anything.
And they don't get they're not using any of the grant for Wheeland County stuff, which
No.
And do they influence the spending of the grant?
no.
No,
Oh,
so you can only be the managing grant, you can only do it once, but the county can support multiple municipalities
Yeah,
in this, but we can only manage one. That's
Yeah, the grant is designed to be intercommunity. So collaboration, right? So you had to have a supporting community. So the county can support Rockford, Hazard, Standard, all these ones as we apply for the grants for our infrastructure. It's a vote of support. It's not a financial support or commitment.
so essentially it's just a requirement of the grant process then too.
Right. Yeah, thank you. That's a great summation.
Any
Yeah, we
other-
called and checked on it.
All in favor? Carried. I will move to have administration send a letter to the county requesting resolution to partner with.
I'm sorry, there's a second 9.11.
That's what,
That's what
What is
Rich
it?
read
Who
in.
made that motion, the second one?
Richard did.
You
Richard,
made the first
I
one.
made the first
I'm
one.
making the second one right now.
Oh, I thought you moved ahead. Sorry, my apologies.
Richard,
Yeah.
yeah, Richard did the 911, okay. Oh, 911, there's two 911s.
That's-
sorry.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
doing the second.
Sorry.
right now.
Okay, sorry, apologies.
Oh,
911.
911 on 911.
Yeah,
Oh my
911B.
You've got the motion there. I was just, I'm not reading it again.
Okay.
All in favor? Carried. Organizational meeting. We need somebody to make a motion to have the organizational meeting on October
Yeah.
16th.
So, yeah, do you want to have it, a council meeting would be the 9th, you want it the 16th,
9th,
or
sorry. 9th.
9th? Or do we want? Organizational meeting has to be held before the end of October.
We normally do it on right before our normal October council meeting.
And what's the organizational meeting?
Organizational meeting is mayor, deputy
Vote
mayor,
mayor,
vote,
and
groups or
Committees.
committees.
Can I ask, is the library having a ham and oyster supper in October? And is it one of those weekends, like, would it be better to wait for that or?
Let me just,
It would be on Wednesday.
No, but sometimes the Wednesday before is very busy and it might be difficult to get all of our meetings done. I was just wondering, the impact to be ready for the, if the ham and oyster was at the 11th, right, the 9th and the 10th might be.
Why does it have an oyster supper?
Because people come in and out.
they haven't
Planned on it.
decided on it yet, but they're planning it.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
But I don't
But-
know the date.
I think
Yeah,
usually it's at the end, like the 25th, right?
Depending upon how heavy the agenda is itself, we may be able to do it all in one night if we maybe start at 6. If the agenda is heavy, I just don't know yet.
Yeah, we won't know.
Okay,
It's either that or we
you have to call a second meeting.
call a second meeting.
October is also a very long month. It might be good to wait till the 6th. There's 5 Wednesdays. If we did the meeting on the 16th, then that puts us
Yeah.
more even square.
You can't do it on the
Yeah.
16th. Sorry, I already have WRC that night.
October 9th is fine.
Okay,
Okay, so we'll stay.
Yeah. Let's
So-
just do that and we can always, like Adam just said, we can always
Okay.
tell them that meeting.
Okay.
Yeah, well,
Ninth,
October 16th.
October 9th.
Okay, so
who's making the motion?
I did.
Okay.
All in favor?
Okay.
Carried. Reports, Adam.
We are still in recess. Our next meeting is September 16th, after which I'll have a report.
Wheeland Housing, no meeting last month. We are meeting next Thursday.
September.
19?
19th, yeah.
Yes.
Larry,
Next meeting is October 17th.
WFCSS, Richard.
We are still on summer recess.
WRC, we had a meeting on August 14th, I believe. I have it written down.
The 14th was our meeting.
oh, it's the weekend after 21.
21, sorry, 21st. Just ongoing talks with Hutterite Colony that wants to come on water line up so north side of 564. They're building a new colony, so they're hoping to join on to WRC, so that'll give us more water flow there. And other than that, it was a very short meeting. That was about the main thing out of it. Our next meeting is October 16th. Community Futures, Richard.
Community Futures, right now, we had our first meeting back. We're actually looking, doing some new style loans, which is a fairly positive thing. We're trying to work out, doing some part ownership loans where we would assume part ownership of the 10% ownership, to help secure some of the loans and do it that way. A couple other projects on bringing in some new clients. They've finished up their youth entrepreneur training program. They've done very well with that. We had 2 successful candidates and they're hoping to get some more signed up. They've actually had a lot of interest in the high schools. And our meeting was on September the 5th. Our next one is October the 3rd.
Library, Larry.
Last meeting was September 9. One big thing I can say that came out of that meeting is Lori Bach has stepped down as chair. And the new chair is Connie Carter. Effective, my understanding, immediately. Next meeting is October 7.
Asset management.
Sorry, I was ready. Just a short update. We had 5 more water meters that were replaced and that's been updated on the GIS. And I think that's the bulk of it for this report.
Strategic
Strategic plan.
planning.
Just waiting until the end of the month for the solar, for the grant to pay for the solar project before we move to our next step.
Development planning.
In your package, well, it's actually economic development. The Village of Chauvin is doing this, tax, incentive for businesses. And we actually talked to them and they say it's, working very well for them. And they give them a tax incentive for up to 5 years. You can go up to 10 years. This is, something that you might want to look at to bring in new business. So, but you can do that though. So
So then they're advertising.
what's that?
They're just advertising that there's a tax incentive for
Yep.
business to move to town.
Yep. Yep.
That'd work good with the industrial lots.
So,
Sorry, the other thing with advertising, are we advertising our lots anywhere specifically?
not yet because of the, getting it registered with land titles, right? So,
For the existing,
oh, for the new
Yeah.
residential or, yeah, we are
Yeah.
advertising with Remax. It's in with Remax right now.
What did I just say? Oh, with the Village of Chauvin, and we were looking at like the tax incentives and stuff like that. Could that also be used as an incentive for like this
New store.
a new store? or-
Yeah,
or
yeah, new business, yes.
a new
You could
business
do
that
it, yeah. Newly established in the village, so these guys are doing it newly established, so you could do. Look into it some more, but we talked to them and they said they do up to 5 years, you can do 10. But these guys are also selling lots for $1. Lots of interest, but they haven't actually sold any yet, so.
Where's the Village of Chauvin?
It was near Wainwright, is that, did we look at more?
Oh, way up there, yeah.
Yeah,
We looked
and
at the
they're
villages.
like double our population, there was 700 and something. But anyway, it was just interesting information to try to draw people. And the MGA does allow it. We don't allow it with
Oh, yeah,
residential.
they're a bit out from.
Whoa, yeah.
There's a-
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say, so far I haven't recognized a word up there until you hit Wainwright. Name.
There's Woodminster.
Very,
Okay,
little bit of prairie.
that's done?
Yeah.
Solar proposal,
Same update, just waiting for the grant.
rodeo egg meeting.
It was really great. There's some great leaders there, well attended, except Lions missed, but Jason again said he'd take stuff back to the Lions. Everyone was happy to resolve who's taking care of what building. That's all been cleared up. The
Lions don't own anything.
Lions don't own anything. The only thing that they take care of is the trees, and that's actually more of a person than the lions. And then two takeaways are they are happy about sea cans because they're tired of their mouse rotting shit. So the rodeo and the ag are looking forward to having sea cans, and they're totally aware that they have to be dressed up and prettied and all that kind of stuff, but they're looking forward to that. And ag is really looking forward to the solar project in hopes that it comes through. They are holding back on buying an electric Zamboni until they know if the solar panel is going to be able to cover their power.
Oh, I forgot.
I don't know what you're
Sorry, it just came in, a development permit came in for the Ag Society to put the door into the between buildings, from the outdoor arena to the indoor arena, and I had meant to put it on the agenda to get council's approval, because it would require council's approval
Yeah.
to alter the building. So after we finish this part, I will, if council doesn't mind, we can make that motion.
Well, we are done right now, are we not?
Yeah.
Move to accept reports as information. Richard, all in favor?
Sorry,
That's okay.
you just sent it.
Somebody like to make a motion to Richard. So they are going to at least have someone qualified do this. and-
Yes, contractor, yes.
What,
Yeah.
how are we wording this motion?
Move to approve Egg Society. Making
Development permit.
Building alteration?
Intention.
or-
development, oh no, they can't approve the development permit. The Egg Society, yeah, or proposal or request, yeah, to modify or alter the building by adding
By adding
a
a
door.
door on the north side.
So where's that going?
You know,
11,
It's probably
Oh.
where they come out of the front.
I mean, where is that going on here?
the agenda will be,
It was an addition at the beginning, not 10 point,
that was 10.12, Egg Rodeo Meeting.
Okay,
So
so
we're
it's
just
under
gonna,
there, okay.
we're just
yeah.
gonna slip it in there, yeah. Egg Society.
move to approve Ag Society proposal to modify the building on the north side.
By adding a door.
Just a single door?
I would imagine that's probably.
They have to get the
They have-
building permits anyway, so,
I'm gonna just go, I
Yeah.
think they have to put a double door in,
yeah, I think so.
and it's all
Yeah.
because of
Safety, yeah.
egress.
Yeah.
You'll have to have fire,
Yeah.
panic bars and all that stuff. on it.
Yeah.
Okay. All in favor? Carried. Ongoing business. Community standard bylaw, move third reading of the community standard bylaw.
There is a list of,
We're at time.
oh,
Well, we need a motion to extend past 10 PM.
Yeah, somebody want to make that motion?
I'll make the motion, send past 10 PM to complete the agenda.
All in favor? Carried.
so there were just a few changes to this bylaw, so you know, for third reading, I standardized the format so that all of our bylaws are matching. There were some grammatical corrections. I deleted the short title line because the short title line didn't actually shorten the title of the bylaw, so, and, there were 2 or 3 additions to the definitions. It might take a second to let that look. In purple, cost of remediation, which is in the fee schedule. So I wanted to make sure that that was, it's a total calculated cost of the village services and contract services that are payable back to the village. The mass rates bylaw has all of those calculations. And oh, these two are just purple because I was looking at something up. And then here, vicious dog, because of the animal bit, voluntary payment.
Can you go back up to vicious dog again?
Yeah,
Sure.
what happened?
Sorry. Well, because there's an animal section about dogs and such, but it's actually in the animal control bylaw, not in this bylaw. So the reason this is purple here is because I thought about taking it out. Because the vicious dog's not actually mentioned in here, but it's referenced in the animal control bylaw, so I ended up leaving it there. And voluntary payment, which is the old language for a violation tag. It's there because sometimes the bylaw officers will ask, what's your voluntary payment? So now we have a definition. So, oh, well, you look at voluntary payment, it's actually a violation tag. So it's what the municipality submits as a fee. So that's why it's purple in there. Then there was the table of contents, I just moved it. It was before the definitions, I put it after the definitions now. And then these are the changes. 1.19 is an exemptions clause to the parks. It's about who can be parking and using the pathways. And I thought about the memory lane volunteers, that they are automatically authorized. So that's why 1.19 is in there. It was just the village public works people before. And then error deleted, missing half of the second sentence. That was an accidental deletion on the bullet, incorrect there. Those are mostly clerical. Oh, 4.4, this is about snow removal. And I added in a manner that does not damage the sidewalk, thinking about the salt last year, that we need to give advice sometimes that people are using the right product if they're salting their sidewalks. So this says, okay, well, they need to remove the sidewalk, or sorry, remove the ice and such from the sidewalk in a way that does not damage the sidewalk. That's the purpose of that line.
Just wait, I'm still reading. Why are we, like, is the town planning on not doing sidewalks?
No,
So we're gonna drive around and clean sidewalks, and anywhere we have to clean, we're gonna find people? Like, what's the plan?
no, this is, well, we can take it out if you want to. This is the carryover from the 1948 bylaw. And it's updated here, but this gives us, if they have 48 hours after ice or snow has been deposited. It doesn't say here, this doesn't affect our policy. If we're going to clean sidewalks as a policy, we can, but it's not an expected service. It's just something that we do as a courtesy. And so it is expected that the owners and occupants keep their sidewalks safe. In the winter, keeping the sidewalks safe. That's why it's a community standard by law. The standard is to keep your sidewalk safe. Keeping your sidewalk safe in the winter means clearing off snow and ice. Obviously, there's discretion that the designated officer, which is the CAO, or she may send the PW around to go look at the sidewalks and determine, okay, is this haphazardly dangerous, or is this just normal collection of snow and ice? Let's tell them to clean it up. And then we don't just automatically fine. That's a gross under summation of what we do. We would communicate and have the sidewalk cleared first if it's something that we can't do or that they should have been following up on. Let's say there's also bits down here about awnings, canopies, marquees, encroachments and such. Sometimes there's melt, especially on Frederick Avenue on a south-facing sidewalk. There's melt from the yards that create ice and become very slippery. So we have in community standards bylaws, this passes like this, we have the ability to say to them, hey, there's an expectation to keep your sidewalk ice-free. Right now, we don't have that expectation. So that's why this is here. So it's not about going out to find someone, it's going out to keep the sidewalk safe.
There's a question.
Is there anything in the bylaw here prohibiting the use of salt on sidewalks?
Not specifically salt, just that line.
That's something that should be in there, because the average person is just, when they see this, they're gonna just throw salt. We don't need that.
Yes, so.
That issue.
Walmart sells water conditioning salt as ice melt.
Yeah, that was a concern last year. So if you wanted to specifically say salt, that could be put in there. I would still say keep the line in a manner that does not damage the sidewalk. That empowers us. If they're out there with a flamethrower, we can go
That
after
would be
them.
fine, actually.
It would probably melt and create ice.
Yeah.
Yes, it
Well,
would.
unless they created more ice. So maybe that's a bad example.
Yeah.
Thinking off the top of my head.
Yeah.
But so if they're using the wrong material and we see damage to the concrete, we can tell them, they can't argue with us. Here in the bylaw says, no, you have to do something that doesn't damage the sidewalk. Here's the salt you can use. We recommend this salt, this ice.
You
melt.
can
Salt
tell
ice
all
melt.
the places that use the wrong stuff.
Well,
You can tell where it's
go over
all.
to Rocky Ford and look
chewed
at
up.
from the corner of the store past the post office. At that stamped
Oh.
colored sidewalk that they put in there.
Damaged.
Yeah,
So
last fall it was put in, last summer. And
they salted it.
they used that stuff they bought at Walmart there for $3 a bag.
Yeah.
And it has totally
Totally corrosive, yeah.
ruined that sidewalk,
Yeah, so,
like
so
$16,000 worth of
this
sidewalk.
line is broad enough that we can give direction in any way about what, stop laughing, I know you're laughing at my accent.
Well, I just bring that up, Jennifer, because the average person
They're not good.
has no knowledge about
Yeah,
No.
I
the
think
danger of salt and concrete.
I agree.
Okay,
I think what we do though is this is good for a bylaw. The other one is something where we communicate through the newsletter, which they'll read a lot more than the bylaw.
We could just
Okay, so-
use,
But I do agree with
We
you.
could
Like we
just-
need to inform and educate our
The bylaw
populace.
has to have specific language. It needs to mention salt and that there's two different salts and it needs to be in a salt approved for
Okay.
use on concrete.
okay, so what if we put in, this is
There
parcel so that
specific-
sidewalk is
Well, we
clear
shouldn't
for
even
service in
recommend
a
salt. We
manner
could
that does not
recommend
damage the
Any traction
sidewalk.
material. So there's all kinds of traction materials.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Eco traction and sand and
Grit.
yeah.
So
There's
do we
all kinds
want,
of
do we
brands.
want to steer away from salt? then?
So
Is that the-
I've been buying, I've been using
Grit,
the stuff
yeah.
that is sidewalk safe on
Yeah.
those stamps, paint or colored cement for 3 years. 0 damage, none whatsoever. Doesn't have salt in it. But it does melt.
Yeah,
My
it's
son
it's a concrete safe or something on the.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's concrete, that's all that
Must, or
stuff, right?
can we
And
not
pet
just say
safe,
must be
concrete
concrete
Yeah.
safe?
Yeah.
And we haven't had,
Safe.
Yeah.
we haven't had an issue with that stuff. So, and that other stuff didn't last 2 months where the salt was, where that cement was lifted the top off. So I don't see in here either where, so we'd lay down brand new sidewalk and somebody comes in and puts water conditioner salt on it and they totally ruin that sidewalk. Who, does it say anywhere in here that they are responsible for replacing that sidewalk?
No. However, let me come back to that in a second.
Okay.
Let's take care of this ice melt stuff. Where the owner or occupant applies material to sidewalk for the purpose of removing ice or snow, it shall, not no must is a stronger word, must be concrete safe. Is that
Or-
adequate?
Or traction control
And pet safe.
and pet safe, yeah.
Concrete and pet safe.
Safe.
Because if you're spreading salt on a publicly
Mhm.
traveling thing and someone's walking.
Out
there,
on Main Street.
Yeah.
you know, it's just something being neighborly.
What about if we just put in?
Okay, now,
When
do
the
you-
owner occupant applies a material to the sidewalk for the purpose of traction improvement or removing ice and snow, it must be.
For the purpose of.
Yeah, because you don't actually need to remove the ice if you just put sand on it.
Yeah, for the purpose of traction, yeah.
And
where are you asking?
so first line at the
Right
end,
here?
so material
For
to the
purpose-
sidewalk for the purpose of,
We're not removing ice or snow if it's for
yeah,
traction.
right there.
For the
Okay,
purpose of traction,
Of traction or removing ice or snow. Then you probably remove ice and snow. For grammar.
well. I'll put the word removing here for parallelism. Must be
no, you
concrete.
got too many removings in there. Just
Oh, the
read-
thing is if we say removing ice or snow,
Oh,
and then
okay.
we're in the and or ambiguity,
Okay, or removing snow, okay, so, okay, good point.
it must be concrete safe and pet safe. Damage to the sidewalk. From, I don't
Improper application will be the
Improper-
responsibility of the.
application or material.
Will be
may
responsible.
result in a violation tag. Okay,
Mhm.
well, no, actually,
But-
yeah, tag, because,
No, violation tag, if we lose $10,000 worth of,
so the way the violation tag works is, what we'll have to do is make this the cost of remediation. So if we have to bring in a contractor to remediate the sidewalk
Okay.
after giving orders of remediation, they have to pay the cost of the
Okay.
remediation.
Okay.
That's how it works. So it's not a fine, because I know there's concern about just making money off of people, right? But now we've attached, okay, there's actually
This is to pay for damage. This isn't just a
damage, right?
profit generating fine.
Okay. So then that takes care of that one. 4.4A. So now this here, where the owner or occupant of parcel land has not complied with 4.4, the property will be designated as dangerous and unsightly, subjecting it to Part 5 of this bylaw and its associated contraventions. What this does is makes it enables us to attach it to property taxes. So if their sidewalk or whatever it is now dangerous because they refuse to clean it or clear it or whatever it is, and they're not remediating it, we can go in with orders to remediate it for them, charge them the cost of the remediation. They refuse to pay. Well, because it's designated as unsightly in the MGA, we can collect that through property taxes. So if it takes $10,000 to fix the sidewalk that they ruined, it'll attach to the property taxes.
Okay.
Which almost makes me wonder if I should put this bit and tag it onto the end of this paragraph here, instead of keeping it separate.
Yeah, if we're gonna go that far, you've got to make sure that language against the using of salt is very clear in there.
Mhm.
And just
We
so
just gotta
council does
educate these
know,
guys too.
like what, before we sold this house, over here, well, before they started construction, we did go and inspect the sidewalk and make sure that there was no damage. I believe James did take some pictures. So if there is damage thereafter, we have pictures and say, hey, wasn't damaged.
Okay.
So
Well-
if they damage the sidewalk while they're doing construction, they have to replace it.
Can I speak to that?
Mhm.
Because we're doing something else. But typically, when you get a building permit in the cities,
Mhm.
there is a fee that the person will pay that goes in for any possible problems with that. I think when I built my house in Kamloops, I think it was $1,500 that I paid. That if
Oh,
during construction I had damaged the sidewalk, they take that 1,500 and use it. If there is no damage done, it's refunded back to them.
okay.
That's something you might want to think about as well.
So I added this bit here. Damage to the sidewalk from improper application of material, including the use of salt on the sidewalk, may result in a violation.
Yeah, make sure salt's in there so that.
Yeah.
Then we have.
Do we say, salt not approved?
Corrosive
Well, it's-
salt.
Corrosive salt.
Put corrosive salt in there
Okay.
because that stuff you're talking about, Martin, is called safe salt, isn't it?
Safety sol, I think. or-
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. So there could be a confusion there.
Yeah, and it's not.
Safe thaw is probably what it's called.
Okay, so I put
Yeah.
corrosive salt.
Yeah.
Okay.
Finding
Okay.
stuff.
So then we have,
Mhm. It says you can use. it
a
outside.
bullet that I merged.
Doesn't say.
Oh, I
anything.
replaced the word drip with spill here, 4.5 right here, saying that snow or ice so that it will not drip. I changed that to spill because it might overflow. Dripping is different, right? But spilling can include dripping. Then, okay, 4.8. This is about where to shovel the snow. Person who removed snow or ice from public and private sidewalks and or public-private driveway shall not deposit said snow or ice upon any street or highway, and it had originally or boulevard. I'm proposing we strike that because in the back alleys where you have the boulevard and the tractor comes through, the snow goes into the boulevard. And then for the boulevards where you have sidewalk and a piece of grass and then the street, that piece of grass is the boulevard. You can put snow there. Sometimes you get a lot of snow, there's no place else to pile it. So I thought out of fairness, it's inconceivable to expect people not to pull it in the boulevard. So that's why I took that boulevard out. And then not impede the storm sewer runoff and that sort of thing. It should also be noted that there was some concern about people who lack a ditch. especially on 7th Avenue, where the road was paved up to like your mom's place and the synagogue, or I forget who they are, the Telliers and some of them down there. So when we look on the GIS map, they actually do have a ditch. The ditch was just paid over. So it's not, so if they shovel it, let me do this here. That's the ditch. So if they're clearing their sidewalks and they shovel it into the ditch, they're fine. This is the roadway, right? So they're not actually shoveling it into the road in this portion. And the same thing, whoops. Yeah, the same thing over here, right? Yeah. They just, somebody said it was a good idea to pave up to their house and they forgot that there's a ditch that's supposed to be maintained. So they're fine to just shovel it in that ditch section. Delete grammatical error. Oh, animal control 5.6 added these right here. Wait, yep, 5.6. We're making a determination on if a premises is a nuisance and or unsightly and or dangerous. So these were put in here because, wait a minute. No, sorry, it's F. It's F. Sorry, I highlighted the wrong ones. Yeah,
Okay.
it's those. This is about making it aligned with the animal control bylaw. So if there are more, oh, there's vicious dogs there. Yeah, if you have more than one vicious dog, the bylaw, animal control bylaw allows one vicious dog. And that's an actual designation, right? You don't just say, oh, you have a pit bull, it's a vicious dog. No, there's an actual process for declaring a dog vicious. And that's explained in the animal control bylaw. So, and this portion of the community standards bylaw about, sorry, the next section about animals does reference that the animal control bylaw is what controls the animals. Anyway, so this is about the unsightly, nuisance, and dangerous. So if a household is where the premises houses more vicious dogs than is permissible in accordance with the animal control bylaw and is thereby also in contravention of the animal control bylaw and is, oh, I did a double. And then whether the premises house has livestock and is thereby also in contravention of the animal control bylaw. So if they're having chickens and they're not supposed to have chickens, right? So these three, and then having more animals than you're supposed to, these, or more dogs than you're supposed to. This makes it so that if it leads to, and you can remove it if you want to, my thought was put it in there so that we have a way to enforce the animal control bylaw outside of dogs running at large. Now, I know that there are some people who move to town and they're not aware of the limit on dogs and such. So there are the exemptions and exceptions clauses, right? And so the animal control bylaw, which is also on the docket tonight, says that if a household has more, then they have to come and register all their dogs. And then when one dies, make sure you let us know that now you're down to, the appropriate, but you can't increase when one dies. You have to work your way down into compliance with the bylaws. So
This village has always been 2. County's actually 3.
I think,
Yeah.
Makes more sense in
I
the
think
county.
Elmer put that in.
Hmm?
I think Elmer. put
Elmer
that in.
did?
Yeah, so it wasn't always. It's been a
Because it's 2,
Yeah.
right?
it is 2, one vicious 2, and that one was 2016, but I think it was in the version before that too, and I don't remember the year of that one. So this is in here so that the out of control animals out of household can be considered nuisance. And then we can apply the consequences accordingly. And then lastly, let's see, grammar, that one, formatting error. Yeah, I had an I instead of a B. Clarity where to find the fees. Oh, 9.10, and we just do reference to 10.7. Okay, so 9.10 is Right here, bylaw said you should put this in here every time, even though you have no intention of having a maximum fine of $10,000. The judge needs, when the violation tickets are issued, the judge needs some kind of like parameter. So that's was put in there. And then, ready for me to go? And then down here, I think, oh, right here, this one is about remediation, because this is in the enforcement section. And it was in there originally. I just added this little bit in Municipal Government Act Division 4. So that way it had the reference as to why we're allowed to recoup the cost of remediation through property taxes in specific ways in cases.
Yeah.
So, and also to be aligned with the Municipal Government Act, a person does get 4 notices, right? You get your first notice, your second notice, your third and final notice with an order for, and each one has an order of how to remediate. And then you get a 4th notice, which is final notice. This is the order. We are coming on the property. And by doing those 4 things, we satisfy all the requirements of that the MJ has. And they, you know, there's deadlines and dates and things like that. So,
Sorry, going up because it had the word probably. And I'm like,
Yeah.
that's an
oh, I don't know why it's
interesting
giving
words.
me a grammar probable. No, has reasonable and, oh, probable. Yeah, that would be correct. There you go. Grounds to be. Oh, that looks like a typo in there. Grounds to leave has, no, that's fine. Okay, so this bylaw did go to Chris Perman, and we got an email today that said in short that it's a strong and good bylaw. I was very happy to get that back. And then there's an appeal process, there's severability, and then the schedule. So the tickets are used if we have to call bylaw in. This is what they will, I mean, we set the rate, but this is what they will charge. Here's all the different areas. And then our village, sometimes you don't have one. 2.0 is the noise complaints, right? So if it's noisy enough that we have to call bylaw officer to come in, we're not issuing a violation tag on the noise. It just goes straight to the violate the ticket bylaw, right? Litter and vandalism, right? So if there's things that need to be repainted and we know who did it and we give them an order to clean up, a notice to clean up, a second notice to clean up, an order to clean up, a final order to clean up. Now we do it, and this is how much it's going to cost you. And the final order tells them, this is what your rate's going to be if we do it for you. These are the deadlines, right? So, illegal dumping, graffiti, vandalism. Okay. Yeah. So that's the changes were those bigger ones we discussed. Otherwise, everything else is minimal for this community standards bylaw. So
Somebody want to move 3rd reading?
This 3rd meeting reading, it's adopted.
No.
Yep. Yep.
Oh, yeah,
No, we can, I'm not in favor of, like, we're making changes tonight, like, we can't pass it tonight.
no, and you know,
it doesn't need to be unanimous anymore because we didn't do it all in one.
Yeah. That's true. But
Then I want,
I would kind of like to, like, I'm sitting here looking, like, we just spent 30 minutes on that one. And we've got 4 more to do. That's another 2 hours if everyone's 30 minutes. Why can we not send these out and let us all look at them? And
well, that's the only one that has changes, eh?
Yeah, the changes, there were 2 the changes to the 06 one was just all grammatical and a vocabulary word. And then the change to 08 was just standardizing the format of the grammatical. And then the other 2 had no changes at all.
Okay. I have no problem. I just would like a little bit more time to read it. That's,
yeah, I'd like to move that this is tabled so that we have more time to read this.
the other ones, like that was a lot of changes, right? I thought. Maybe I'm wrong.
Well, here's the
It
other thing
was-
though, too.
Other than grammar, it was this one, excluding boulevard, This,
We're not,
this is
we
5.6
don't
and
need to be
4.4.
arguing what was, how much it was
Yeah.
changes.
No.
If a counselor says it was too much changes, then that's the counselor's opinion. We don't need to argue about it.
No, I would like a chance to read it.
I've made a motion.
All in favor of tabling that motion or that bylaw?
Literally just send them out.
Table it and then send it out so we can read it.
Okay.
All in favor, carried. So that the rest of these aren't 30 minutes long?
No,
Okay. Fire bylaw.
that's the 06, right? Does it say
08.
08,
08?
2024, 08.
Okay. All I did was standardize the format, make grammar corrections,
Okay.
and deleted the short title and addition to the
Okay.
definition was, hang on. This is on your drive, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was defining what an order was.
Okay.
Okay.
Somebody want to move third reading?
I'll make the motion to accept third reading for fire bylaw 2024-08.
All in favor? Opposed? One opposed. Master rates.
There were no changes to master rates.
Move third reading for master rates. I'll move. All in favor? Opposed? One opposed. Animal control.
Animal control had formatting. It was a really old, well, it was 26, but it was, where was it? 06, right?
6.
Yeah. There was a lot of format changes because the original typist just used a lot of tabs. So I had to fix all of that. Definitions. And I standardized the bulleting and all that kind of stuff. This is actually including the livestock because the livestock was listed here, exotic animals, all that kind of stuff. So I just simplified it. Species normally kept for domestic purposes, including livestock. And I think there might have been, that was old. That's from the second reading. That's why it's in red. Oh, here, pet animal, domesticated animals, such as a dog, cat, reptile, exotic animal. It's mentioned later on. I actually did very little changing to the meat of this bylaw. So the definitions that were already there, I kept and I just clarified. So here's one where animal considered livestock according to the definitions of this bylaw. It seems redundant, but I didn't want to go through and delete and rewrite the whole.
And that bylaw was created by the county.
Yeah, it was a county bylaw. And then remedial red was the last time because it said order before, but they get a remedial order in this one. So it just didn't change the meaning, just made sure it was aligned. Added the table of contents for ease of use. All the red used to say dog. Now it says animal because it could be cats, it could be pigs,
Yeah.
like potbelly pigs or whatever, right? Register the animal annually. That was there, but that all the red again was there last time.
Yeah.
Let's see. So had duplicate number. The word zone, I changed it to district, so it aligns with the LUB. And this 3.3 is 3.3 about where livestock is allowed, not allowed in residential districts, public service districts. It used to say zones, so now it says district. And 4.2, owners may license animals using fees for licensing dogs in accordance with the master rates bylaw. We had someone come in and ask to license a cat several months ago, and we didn't have a rate for that. So this just clarifies that's with like dogs in the master rate
You
bylaw.
want to fix the spelling error up top there?
No, it says accepting, but we want accepting. So
Okay.
it says animals accept dogs.
What do you mean accepting dogs?
Accepting, so 4.1, 4.2 apply to animals that are not dogs, and then dogs is down here at 4.3, 4.4.
You mean, is that exempting?
Yeah, but it's,
So-
they're not exempt from
How about, can
the
we say,
actions.
Other
but-
than?
no, other than,
Yeah, it's fine.
other than, yeah. Other than dogs, okay,
That makes more
Okay.
sense.
yeah,
And then,
looked like a typo.
5.1, take out reference to the appropriate section. That's because with renumbering to align the format, the parts change numbers. So part 3, used to be part 5, and that's just because they gave a part number to the contents and a part number to the definition. I took that off. So
Okay.
I just changed take out the reference to 5.1a because 5.1a didn't exist. It's now 3.1. So and 4.13, adding clarity to what's transferable is about licensings being transferable to a license issued is not transferable to a living animal while the original license animal is still present with the owner. In the event that the ownership of the animal is transferred, the owner must register the animal as a new animal. That was, I just added some clarity to with this sentence here.
What do you mean not transferable?
No, the license, so if you had a licensed cat, no, let's say you had a licensed dog, Mike, and you gave me the dog, I have to buy my own license for the dog. Your license for the dog does not transfer to my ownership. of
So if
the
your
dog.
license and your plate.
Yeah,
You can't transfer, if your dog dies, you can't transfer that to a new dog, it's a new license.
Yeah,
Still gonna pay the license. It's
yeah.
yearly license.
What animals are we licensing?
Dogs,
Dogs.
Only dogs.
And vicious dogs.
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 And-
Yeah,
And then
she wants
if
a cat
anybody,
register.
and if anybody
So
wants
it's like,
to register
okay,
another
here we
animal,
go.
they can go ahead.
She
and do
wants
that.
to register, because if her cat gets out, she
Well,
wants
that's
the
fine.
tags on it, then
Then
she
we can
wants
trace
to
it.
know who's,
Fair enough. I
where it
guess.
belongs, and I said,
Yeah.
okay,
The animals that don't get
we tried to say.
tags
say
don't get
something.
returned to their neighbors.
Yeah.
They get sent to shelters.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay,
Moving
so
on.
that's it.
Yeah.
okay. Somebody want to move third reading of the animal control bylaw? Larry, all in favor? Opposed? One opposed. Public utility bylaw.
There were no changes.
We want to move third reading of public utility bylaw.
I'll make the motion to move third read and public utility bylaw 2024-07.
All in favor? Opposed? One opposed. Policy submitted August 14th, the last meeting. Need somebody to move.
Yeah,
Those
and
ones.
in your
Yeah.
package, there was 2, we just did a couple of, just word changing.
So these ones, right
Yeah.
here.
And she highlighted what she changed from what was in the package.
Yeah.
So one, the village, I think was a good, we pay $50 per month, paid annually to the curling rate for the use of the LED board. So we add that in, and the covered shelter includes the covered shelter instead of the,
Picnic shelter. or something
Yeah.
like that.
it was confusing with the concession booth, so this
Mhm.
is the covered
Oh.
shelter.
Yeah, they were
What
calling
was
it
it?
the kitchen, the camp kitchen.
Camp
versus
kitchen,
the
yeah.
Concession kitchen.
So it was kind of confusing because it was like, okay, is that the concession or is that, no, it's the covered shelter. That's it.
Okay.
The other one is the concession.
That's, you're talking about the big one that's.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So that was the only changes that were made from what you got last time, so.
We want to move to adopt and rescind the policy submitted August 14th.
I will make that motion.
All in favor? Carried. So the new policies batches in your package, just, we have to move to accept.
Oh, no, sorry. No, new policies, no.
Rent bylaw.
No changes. That was written,
Yeah.
not by me.
It's all good.
We want to move to adopt the rent bylaw. Larry, all in favor? Opposed? One opposed. Counselors' concerns, Richard,
No, sir.
Adam,
Not that I can think of right now, no.
Larry,
It's making sure that, I don't know if you wrote it down, but the damage to the sidewalk is what I'm talking about. You haven't putting in your policy when you give a permit.
Yes,
You've got that written down.
yeah,
Okay, and the other thing is, when we give permits out to people to build, they need to have something written in there that they have to stay within the boundaries.
Yeah,
totally,
And it alleviate a whole bunch of
Oh, yeah.
problems that we have right now.
yeah.
yeah.
That it?
I think so, yeah, for now.
Mike?
Just on these letters that go out, is there a reporting mechanism from staff to council? On
No,
how many letters are going out? Are we tracking anything?
I'm sure the girls are.
Yeah, we just,
That's,
it's all in the system, letters submitted and it starts off a
not-
big list and then it goes to second letter, then it's usually less because these
clean
ones,
it up.
they clean it up, so we don't, and then down to the third letter, we're only at what, third letter now, so.
Only one
One
is
yeah,
at risk of third.
that's it.
What's your concern with that?
Well, I just think there should be some reporting.
To us?
Yeah.
No. That is
Well,
operations.
that's what I think.
Yeah, no, it's operations. I'm sorry.
That language is not acceptable. Sorry, Martin.
Sorry. I was gonna expand on that. That's actually operations, not governance. So it's not really,
Well, it's governance when it comes to, like, I've gotten complaints, not from people in town. And so there are people that are frustrated, right? So I think that we should have some reporting.
I still am gonna say that's way out of our lane. And you can talk to municipal affairs and ask them that question. But that is operations and we do not go into operations. We have had our hands slapped in here prior
What does that mean?
counselors by municipal affairs for overstepping where we're supposed to be. That's operations. So
I would like to make a motion that we request staff inquire whether reporting on violations and tags and letters to council is overstepping.
I'm fine with that. All in favor? Carried.
And the other thing too is to let you know, if somebody makes a complaint to the office or writes us a letter, it is dealt with.
I know, and I
So-
tell people,
so-
right, the office, I
Yeah.
can't do nothing about it.
Yeah. But people don't want to get involved, and I had one person say they were chased down the street by a dog. He was riding his bike, and I'm like, well, why don't you should have said something.
Well, there was a
You
dog
would've-
attack on 9th where 3 dogs attacked another dog on a leash. right?
Yeah.
And
And
I couldn't convince
nobody-
him to come
no.
here.
Yeah,
So,
I tried, I would have contacted him, but I
Yeah.
don't have a phone number,
yeah, I don't either.
so,
Okay,
yeah.
so
unfortunate.
I only have one concern. So I just noticed it the other night. So our Centennial Park is, and the only reason I noticed it is I was out because I heard noise, couldn't figure out what it was, so I went for a drive. It was just kids playing at Centennial Park. It is so dark.
Mhm.
They're like pitch black.
Is that Sunday night?
Yeah. It
Yeah.
could have been Sunday night.
There's vandalism.
There was.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I would like to look into getting something there to light that up a little bit. Cause I couldn't even see him till and I wish I'd have realized that I thought it was just kids playing, but you could not see them in there. You could hear them.
So,
Do you want to put a lamp or something?
I think something's gotta be done. It is so dark in there. I think it would be a
safety concern.
I think it would be a liability issue. If there's kids in there in the dark and they
yeah,
can't see what they're doing and
There's-
something
there's
happens,
graffiti.
Or we
all
can't
over
see
there.
what they're doing.
or somebody can't see what they're
You're
doing.
talking about the old
Southpan,
school ground,
some
where
of
the
the
school
stuff.
was?
Where the
Can't
park,
get
where the
off.
playground.
There's
equipment
specific
was.
names, so,
We should sign it.
huh?
Like you should signed it. We should just go drive by there.
Oh, we have,
It was just so
Huh?
dark.
we have a name.
Oh, yeah, she
Oh,
wrote her
yeah.
name on.
Hey,
4 names.
Fabulous.
They wrote their names on their own graffiti.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
Oh, wow.
We
Or-
don't know. It could be somebody else putting their names on it, but.
Either they're really not smart or they're really smart.
Huh?
What was
somebody
it,
they
where
don't
was
like.
it written?
Well, I didn't.
On the playground.
On the playground.
What was the damage like?
Oh, they wrote on some of the pieces of the playground.
Like with paint markers and Sharpie markers.
So and so was
okay.
here, so and so was here.
Yeah.
Somebody
Yeah.
want to move to accept counselor's concerns? Also move, all in favor? Carried. Move to close session.
No, I don't need, I don't need a closed session. It's just,
Oh,
legal,
okay.
sorry.
We don't need to go into
no.
closed session to,
I just need the motion. And this was again, a motion that was, created with municipal affairs so that there is no, backlash. So,
I'm still questioning whether or not it should be in camera or not. It is
You-
legal.
The
well,
motion
it's,
can't be in camera.
the
but
motion can't be in
discussion,
camera.
Do we?
Oh,
do we
yeah,
need
I guess we
discussion?
don't need a
There's- yeah.
discussion, but okay.
Okay.
Okay,
So I'm just requesting this.
okay.
Yeah.
So we're gonna move.
I move to accept Brownlee letter as information closing the file on the human rights complaint due to no response from claimant following the Human Rights Commission's decision to dismiss.
All in favor? Carried.
Adam,
I did.
Okay.
Who wants to adjourn? Meeting adjourned. Thank you.
I don't think it needed any more explanation.
No, I mean, I know where it came from.
How is that?
Oh, the solar stuff.
Yeah,
Oh, right on.
so is there any time that works in your schedule to get your, like, your consulting and look now?
Haven't seen it.